Then what happens? And then in that there is a provision of condonation. If file a notice, we never give notice, huh? They file an application. No, no, up to 1 crore it is CIT or principal CIT. Above 1 crore up to 3 crores CCIT. And above 3 crore principal CCIT. You have to apply them for condonation. And they will condone the delay if the delay is due to genuine reason. Okay, check the answer to homework question. In assessment procedure, question 1 I had given for homework. Read what is given. Shashank filed his return of income on 26 June 26 for the previous year 25-26, declaring an income of 1,90,000. Later on, he forgot to claim an expense of 4 lakhs. So he filed a revised return. When did he file the revised return? On 18th November 26. See, 26 June 26 is the date of original return. And then date of revised return is 18th of November. But see, what is the rule? Even if you revise the return, your date of original return is important. Because whether assess is a late filer or not a late filer depends upon the date of original return. And if you see in this question, the date of original return is 26 June, which is before 31st of July. So assessee is not a late filer. Huh? Obviously, revising the return will always happen at a later date. But that date will not determine whether he is a late filer or not. And in the revised return, he has a loss of 2,10,000. Originally, he had declared income. Now, income has been converted into loss. What they are saying? Assessing officer opined that the loss claimed in the revised return cannot be carried forward as the revised return was filed after the due date. What is the claim of AO? That you cannot carry forward the loss because the return is late. And he is saying late based on the date of revised return. But he cannot say late based on the date of revised return. Whether you are late or on time, that depends upon original return date. So what they are saying is the contention. Contention means the claim, the stand of assessing officer correct. See, you have to remember these words. You have to literally mug up. You should have the habit of writing such words in the paper. Contention means the claim or the stand of AO. See, when I say AO, I hope you understand. AO means what? Assessing officer. It is very normal to call him AO. AO means assessing officer. So is the contention of assessing officer correct? Now see, generally what happens, a student, how he writes the answer. Yes, no. You cannot write the answer in one line or one word. Na? You have to explain. See, anyways, the question is saying discuss. Discuss means discuss. So in discussion, what discussion you will show? So see, today only I am telling you the pattern of writing the answer. This pattern you have to follow throughout DT paper, okay? See, whenever they ask a question situation based, first you have to write the situation in short. Writing the situation means as good as you have to copy the question only. Not literally as it is. In short, you have to explain what has happened in the question. And then you have to explain the provision. And then you have to give the conclusion. Provision means the relevant provision. Tell me here which provision is applicable. Provision of revised return, section 139(5), which says the revised return will replace the original return. That provision you have to write. In our book, you will see there is one sentence written. See, the sentence goes like this. Once the return is filed on time, assessee cannot be treated as a late filer just because the return is revised at a later date. Accordingly, the losses can be carried forward. So this kind of provision you have to write. And then at the end you have to write the conclusion. So keeping this provision in mind, the contention of assessing officer is not correct. In short, your answer should be divided into three parts. What will be the three parts? First, explain the situation. In short, what has happened in the case. So here, how will you explain the situation? In this case, assessee filed a return, original return on time, declaring some income. Not necessary to write the exact amount. Huh? You can just write in short. In this case, assessee filed the original return before the due date, declaring some income. Later on, revised the return at a later date, which is after the due date of filing the return. Okay. And now he wants to claim the carry forward loss. You have to explain the situation. Then the relevant provision. And then at the end, the conclusion. So whenever you're thinking, how should I start my answer? How should I start my answer? Describe the situation, explain the provision, then the conclusion. And see, in exam, if you have got very less time, don't waste time in explaining what has happened in the question. Your cut-to-cut answer should be explain the provision and write the conclusion. Means out of the three parts, second part and third part is most important. Anyways, in my book, if you see the answer, you will not necessarily find the answer is always in three parts. This is, I am just giving you a guideline in case when you are stuck up in the paper, how should I proceed with the answer. So this guidelines you keep in mind. Otherwise, there is no standard rule that your answer has to come this way only. Okay. Because see, this standard pattern you might not notice in our answer. Okay. Anyways, you can just read how I have written this answer. Huh? Shashank filed his original return on so and so date, that is before the due date. Later on, he revised the return on 18 November, declaring a loss. Now see, there is one section 80. See, in our last lecture, what did I say? Loss return is covered under section 139.3. But see, 139.3 simply says that return of loss is also important. You will not be able to carry forward. That restriction is technically given in section 80. Actually, section 80 is from the family of set off and carry forward losses. See, if you remember little bit of set off from CA Inter, there are sections like section 70, 71, 72, 73, 74. From section 70 to section 80, this whole family covers provision for set off and carry forward. Okay. So from that family, there is one section, section 80. This says that if you fail to file the return on time, your losses cannot be carried forward. This point is actually written in section 80. So then what does section 139.3 says? This section simply says that for losses also you need to file the return. Otherwise section 80 will get angry. Now what anger section 80 will show? It will not allow you to carry forward the loss. So actually two sections are making the provisions for loss return. Okay. Anyways, here the point of the revised return, but the restriction of not able to carry forward the loss if you don't file on time, that restriction is actually given in section 80. Okay, then see what is given. As per section 80, a loss can be carried forward if the return of such loss is filed on time. In case of revised return, the date of original return will decide whether the return is filed on time or not, because revised return will replace the original return. And since Shashank has filed the original return on time, the loss declared in the revised return can be carried forward. Hence, the contention of assessing officer is not correct. Okay. So this was the homework question. Now, continuing further, see. We have started with the chapter of assessment procedure, correct? This chapter we have to do it in 4 parts, out of which part 1 we have done returns. What is the second part? Inquiry. And then assessment and then other sections. Okay. Now see, this same summary I have given in the form of a drawing. See, I will show you. Just keep this in mind. This same thing I am showing in a different pattern. Huh? Look now. See this. It is the same summary of the topic. Huh? See, look. Wait. Yeah. See, our chapter is divided into 4 parts. Part 1 is returns, part 2 inquiry, part 3 assessment, and after that there are some other sections. Other section I have not taken in this flow because see, this is a flow chart kind of thing, okay? So here I have taken the 3 parts of the chapter and that is a major part of the topic. After that there are some other sundry sections, okay? So this part we have done, returns. This covers section 139.1 to section 140A. Now, after we file the return, what happens next? That is inquiry. How inquiry takes place, that is explained in section 142. Okay. Why inquiry, how inquiry, I will explain all that. And after the inquiry is done, next step is assessment. And how assessment happens, there also there are broadly 2 parts. Sometime assessment happens on time, sometime assessment happens at a later date. Later date means it is a belated assessment. Just as we file the return sometimes on time, sometimes belated. Same way government also says what? Sometimes we can do the assessment on time, sometimes it can happen belated also. And then timely assessment also is broadly classified into 3 parts. Summary assessment, regular assessment, best judgment assessment. So all this we have to study now. And when assessment happens at a later date, it is called income escaping assessment. Income escaping assessment. So in short, see, these are the points to be studied in the upcoming lectures. Okay. So see, out of all this thing, we have only done part 1, which is called returns. So now next, but see, are you understanding the flow? See, in this flow it is going on. So in this flow, what is the next thing? Inquiry. This is covered in under section 142. Now tell me, what inquiry, why inquiry, and how inquiry? 3 things you have to understand. What the inquiry is done, why, and how. And who will do the inquiry? These are the several questions you should have in the mind. First tell me, who will do the inquiry? Assessing officer. Who will do the inquiry? Assessing officer. See, once we file the return, our case goes to the assessing officer. So if you ask me, sir, who does inquiry? Assessing officer. And what inquiry? He wants to inquire whether you have shown the income truly or not. Because the return which you filed, he cannot trust on the return. Because government also knows what kind of manipulation you do in your filing of return. So since he does not trust your return, he wants to know your real income. And to know the real income, he has to do the inquiry. So if you have a doubt, sir, why they are doing the inquiry? Because they do not trust your return. You have shown some income of your 5 heads under all the 5 heads in the return of income, but that is not trustworthy. And since he does not trust, he is not able to trust the return, he has to make the inquiry. And the objective of the inquiry is what? To know the real income of the assessee. Like for example, I might have filed a return of my coaching class declaring income of 25 lakhs. But who knows whether I have honestly declared the income? So since he has a doubt, he will do inquiry to find out the real income. So that is the purpose of the inquiry. But now the main question is how this inquiry will be done. So see, how inquiry is done, for that there are 3 methods. There are 3 methods of doing the inquiry. One is section 142.1, other is section 142.2, and the third section is 142.2a. And in all these 3 sections, the objective of assessing officer is what? To know the true income of the assessee. See, imagine he has got your return, but he is not trusting the return. He wants to know the real income. That is why he will take help of these 3 sections. Okay. Now see, section 142.1, under this section you will get a notice. You will get a notice from assessing officer. But this section covers 3 types of notice. I have made a short form RAI. Actually, there are 3 types of notice. I have made a short form RAI. I will call it as RAI notice. So whenever I say RAI notice, you understand it is section 142.1. In RAI notice, R stands for what? In case you have not filed a return, you will get a letter, please file the return. So this is one thing which they can do. See, now what we are studying. what income tax department can do in respect of our returns. So in case you have not filed the return, they will send a notice that dear assessee, you forgot to file the return, please file the return. Now I cannot say, no, wait, I will file my return late till 31st of December. You cannot ask him to wait. Once he has sent the notice, you have to reply and file the return immediately. Yes, in the notice, they will give you a time. File within 10 days, 20 days, 25 days. And if you are not able to file it within so many days, you can request for extension. But now you cannot behave like this. I will file my return as per my own wish, as per the belated return due date of 31st of December. You cannot ask him to wait. Once he has sent the notice, you have to respect him. Means whatever time he has given, within that you have to file the return. Yes, in case you are not able to file within that much time, you can request for extension. But you have to respond to his notice. So this is called notice under section 142(1). Okay. So in short, see, if a person thinks, I will not file the return only, how will government come to know? But see, their system is day by day becoming so stronger, they many times come to know automatically who has filed and who has not filed. And suddenly, to your shock, you will get a letter asking you to file the return, and you will be shocked that there are so many people in India. Many are not filing the return. But suddenly I am getting the notice. So you getting the notice means what? This is just a start. Now see what will happen at the end. Because see, there are so many people not filing the return, but especially I got the notice. That means this is just the start to make me file the return. After that, God knows what they will do. So in short, this notice should scare you. Okay. Anyways, this is one notice which you can get, which is called R. R for if you have not filed a return, you will get a notice. But obviously, they cannot send a notice till the 31st July or October or November. Till the due date of filing return, they have to keep their mouth shut. But once the due date passes, that is 31st July, what is the due date of filing return? 31st July, and for cap assessees, 31st October, and for transfer pricing assessee, 30th November. Till the due date, they will have to wait. Yes, till due date, if I have not filed a return, suddenly I can get a notice. Okay. See, all these things which I will explain, these are very rare things. But see, whether this rarely happens or frequently happens, that is a secondary thing. The main thing is, as a student, you should have the knowledge that what assessing officer can do. So first thing is, if you have not filed a return, you will get a notice to file the return. Then, in RAI notice, what is the next alphabet? A. A for, now imagine you have filed a return. Now looking at your return, he feels everything is messy. He feels that you have not shown the income properly. He has got doubt in your profit also. So he will request you to submit books of accounts. A for accounts. A for accounts. Here you will be asked to produce your books of accounts. Means journal, ledger, balance sheet, profit and loss account, anything. Accounts is a broad term. Anything from the accounts you will have to submit. So this is another notice which you can get in RAI. Okay. Then RAI. I stands for any other information as it thinks fit. See, A is what? Accounts. Accounts means typical cash book, journal, ledger, balance sheet, etc. But information can be anything. Like for example, he can send a notice telling you during the year, whatever TDS you deducted, give the summary of that. Or during the year, whatever cash payments you have done, give the summary of that. Or during the year, if you have taken loan from any parties, give the details of loan summary. I'm just giving a random example. The information can be anything which he thinks fit. See, after looking at the return, he will feel, let me call for bank statement, let me call for this, let me call for his passbook. It can be anything. So that is I in RAI. So what were the three types of notice? R stands for return. If you have not filed the return, you will be asked to file the return. A for, he will ask you to produce books of accounts. A for accounts. I for, he can ask for any information as he thinks fits. Now what information he wants, it depends upon case to case. But whatever information he wants, he can ask for you. See, what is the purpose of all this? He wants to know your true income. You have already declared your income in the return which you filed, but he doesn't have trust on that, na? So he wants to know the true income. To know the true income, he is putting all these efforts. Okay. So this is a popular notice called RAI notice. Okay. Section is what? 140 to 1. And see, trust me, in this chapter, if you don't go with section, you will find it messy. It is most important to by heart section, at least in these initial topics which I am going to take. Later on, see, for example, when I go to income from business, capital gains, little bit section here and there, if you are compromising, it's okay. But here the chapter will go whole chapter will go bouncer, because everything is having importance with the help of the section only. See, right now I was talking about some notice. There will be several notices. So how do you know it is this notice or that notice? So it is identified with the section number. So take section number very seriously. You know why I'm stressing on this? Because see, sometimes students makes his own rules. Sir will tell me to by heart the section, but I will not by heart the section. So don't make your own rule. Here it is mandatory to by heart the sections. So what was this section? 142.1. This is called RAI notice. Also you remember the word which I am using, a notice. Sometimes I will be using the word intimation. Sometimes I will be using the word order. Sometimes I will be using the word direction. So concentrate on the word also. Okay. So in short, in these topics, initial topics, section number is most important. The term to be used, whether it is notice, order, direction, intimation, the word, and the time limits. See, in the initial section, I have not discussed any time limits, but you just wait and watch. There will be several time limits which you will have to by heart. Up till now, we have by hearted only one time limit for belated return and revised return. What is the time limit? 31st December or completion answer, which is earlier. This way, there are several time limits. So you focus mainly on three things: section number, and the term to be used, and the time limits. Okay. So here section number is 140 to 1 and the term is RAI notice. Okay. Now see one more thing. In RAI notice, what was A? Accounts. Tell me, he will ask for accounts of which year? Obviously for the year for which you have filed a return. Like right now we are preparing for May 26, September 26, Jan 27 attempt. And in these exams, the previous year is 25-26. So our year is 25-26. So since I filed a return for 25-26, he will ask for books of accounts of 25-26. But this section says he can also ask the accounts of preceding years. Maximum 3 preceding years accounts he can demand. Actually, his focus is on the current year's accounts. But sometimes, to current year accounts will not suffice his requirement. He may need to see past accounts also. So mainly he will ask for the accounts of the current year. But law says if he wants, he can also ask accounts of preceding 3 years. Maximum 3 years. This 3 year to by heart. By heart 3, 3, 3, 3. Maximum 3 preceding years accounts he can demand along with the accounts of the current year. See, generally he will not ask you the accounts of past year. But sometimes he has to cross check, like closing stock of last year is opening stock of this year. So if you have shown the opening stock of so much amount, it should match with the closing stock of the last year. So for that he needs to see the accounts of last year. So that is one example that why he might need accounts of past year. He might have to check the consistency also, that every year what is the sales, what is your turnover, etc. So in short, generally he will ask accounts of the current year only, but if he feels so, he can also ask accounts of past, but maximum past 3 years, immediately preceding 3 years. So this was section 142.1. But tell me, when will you get this RAI notice? At what time? Exactly when will you get the notice? So see here, look at this drawing. Once the due date of return passes away, once the due date of filing the return passes away, After this, during this period, anytime section 142 can happen. Remember last lecture, what did I say? After the assessment year, there are 12 more months during which assessment can happen. So what is the assessment period? Assessment can happen in AY also. As I told you, the full form of AY is what? AY is what? Assessment year. And if in assessment year assessment doesn't happen, then when will assessment happen? So in AY, in the part which I have shaded, in this period assessment will happen, and after that there are 12 more months. And why this inquiry is happening? For assessment purpose only. And when the assessment itself happens in this period, so obviously inquiry will happen in this period only. See, what is the title of the section? Inquiry before assessment. Inquiry before assessment. So you only should ask yourself, na, when will assessment happen? Obviously during this period. If assessment happens during this period, obviously inquiry will take place during this period. So in short, see, when you study RAI notice, you should also keep in mind that RAI notice will come when? During this period. See, I have purposely shaded this in a different color. Can you see I have shaded with the black color here, black? Okay. So in this period, 142(1) notice may come. Why I am saying may come? It may not come also. There are so many people in India, every person will not receive 142(1) notice. Na? It is just as a student, you should be aware that after the due date goes away, we may receive notice under section 142(1). And this notice can be of three types. Either it will ask you to file the written if you have not filed, or it will ask you to produce the accounts. Accounts also, he can ask accounts of that year plus preceding 3 years, or he can ask for any information. This notice may come, may not come. If it comes, confirm it will come during this period. Okay. Then, section 142(2). This section is information from other sources. See here, in RAI notice, notice was given to whom? Notice was given to the assessee. And assessing officer was asking information from the assessee. But you know, sometimes assessee may not give full information. He might hide. Imagine if inquiry happens on me, I'll be definitely scared. So whatever information AO is asking for me, I might have the tendency of hiding something or giving incomplete information. That's why you know what law says? Dear assessing officer, if you feel assessee is not giving you full information, you can gather information from other sources also. Assessee is not the only source. You can also use other source. Especially when you talk to assessee, he might give incomplete information. He might give wrong information because he's scared. So that's why law has given him permission to gather information from other sources. Tell me, what is the importance of other? Other means other than assessee, and it can be anything. And see, for this best example, AO asked me for the books of accounts. I have submitted my books of accounts. Imagine my books of accounts is showing sales of 3 crores. Now he has a doubt on my books of accounts also. At 3 crores, I don't think his sales should be 3 crores. So he will cross check with GST department. He will cross check with GST department. And from GST department, he came to know his sales is 5 crores. How GST department comes to know the sales? Because when you sell the goods, you have to collect GST. So this way he can gather information from GST department about my sales. See, this is just one example. This way anything can happen. See, the word other sources is so broad. He has got so many sources. Like for example, I am saying I have incurred advertisement expenditure of 1 lakh in this year. But he has a doubt now. Whether Shirish has really incurred advertisement of 1 lakh or not, he will cross check with my advertiser. And when he cross checks with my advertiser, so it is information from other sources. See, when he is asking information from me, that he will do in 142(1), na? But if he wants information not from me, from other sources, then he will take help of section 142(2). But here there are no defined sources. he can have any source. GST department, what was the other example I gave? He can gather information from my advertiser, or he can gather information from my bank where my accounts are there. So in short, this can be anything. So see, what is the distinction between the two sections and what is the common thing? First, what is the common thing? Common thing is he wants information about your income. But what is the difference? Source. Here we are gathering the information from assessee, and here he is gathering information from other sources. This is the main difference. Okay. See, in exam, you know, this section, how will you write in proper English? So listen to the sentence, huh? Because see, you cannot write anything in your casual language, huh? See, this is a particular sentence which I am saying, please by heart that. It's printed in our book also, huh? See. In order to gather full information about the income of the assessee. In order to gather full information. So why the law is using the word full information? Because law is thinking maybe RAI notice gave incomplete information. Because RAI notice was sent to the assessee, and there are high chances that assessee might give incomplete information. That's why the wordings of this section starts how you know. In order to obtain full information, the AO can make any such inquiry as he thinks fit. This is the exact text of section 142.2. What was it? In order to obtain, see why I am saying this, because I am expecting you to by heart as it is. In order to obtain full information. See, when you are remembering the word full information, what should come to your mind? That in the previous section, AO might have got half information. So now in order to gather full information, AO may make any such inquiry as he thinks fit. The law is not even using the word other sources. This is, I am simplifying for you. Law simply says what you know, AO can make any such inquiry as he thinks fit. But you know, this sounds very vague. That's why I have given in a very simple term. Here I am gathering information from assessee. Here I am gathering information from other sources. Okay. Now, see, actually these are three methods of gathering information. Okay. Or you can say three methods of doing inquiry. Now see, the third method is what you know, special audit. Please imagine suddenly you will get a letter. In the letter, you know what will be written? Dear assessee, you have to get your accounts audited. You know why this letter will give a shock to the assessee, you know? This will give a shock to the assessee. Audit? Why it is shocking? Because every assessee first gets the accounts audited, then he files the return. Now, after you file the return, suddenly you are getting a notice that get your accounts audited. So assessee's natural reaction will be what? My books are already audited. After the books got audited, I had filed a return. Now you are asking me to do the audit again. So you have to do it again. Because the main audit which you do through your chartered accountant, it is just a routine audit. And that audit was done by a CA who might be known to you. He might be a friend of you. But this audit which he is asking from you, special audit, will be done by a CA nominated by government. This will not be your CA. In short, see, sometime it happens that you have to do audit twice. Once you did as required by the law, because every company has to get its accounts audited, or if you are not a company, if your sales exceeds 1 crore turnover limit, then also you have to get your books of accounts audited. That is a routine audit. And that is done through any chartered accountant of your choice. You can appoint a CA who is your friend also. But this audit which you are required to do, it is as per the direction of the government, and it will be done by a CA, not known to you. It will be nominated by government. Okay. And this is not an audit for formality's sake. Here in this audit, they want to know what is your real profit. See, what is the objective of audit? To know the true profit. Because audit means checking books of accounts. And what is the final summary of books? The net profit which you earned in the business. Why do you prepare books of account? To know the profit. But your profit which you have shown might be false. He wants to know the real profit. For that, audit is the best strategy. But audit done by a CA nominated by government. But see, in this section, there are actually 4 points. This is now lengthy section. Let me tell you. Section 142 2A is a lengthy section. See, broadly in this section, there are 4 points. See, one by one. First point is, you will get a direction. Direction means you will get a letter. It is kind of a notice only. But don't use the word notice. What will you write? Assessing officer will send a direction. You know what is the difference between notice and direction? Notice is subtle. It is requiring you to do something. Direction is little harsh. It is ordering you. And here the tone of assessing officer is what? It's my order that you have to get your accounts audited. See, to direct someone means to order. Okay. But in notice you are requesting, please submit your accounts, please furnish this information. But here it is in the nature of an order that you have to get your accounts audited. So don't use the word notice. In simple language we can say we are getting a letter from government. A letter or email. See, these letters nowadays you get through email. But earlier these letters you used to receive through speed post. In past, these letters which I am talking, you used to receive through speed post. But now these letters you get through email. Okay. But although it's a normal letter, but what word you will use in the exam? For this you will use the word direction. Okay. So see the sentence. As per this section, the AO shall issue a direction to the assessee requiring him to get his accounts audited by a CA nominated by government. By a CA nominated by government. Actually not government. You know what law says? Nominated by CIT or CCIT. Who will nominate the CA? Means who should be the CA for your books of accounts audit? Either CIT will decide or CCIT. See, when I say CIT, CCIT, anyone. So either CIT will say so and so firm will do your audit, or CCIT. And here they don't select big fours. Deloitte, KPMG, they have their own panel of chartered accountants. Government department, they have got own panel of chartered accountants, and from that panel any CA will be given the job of audit. Okay. So what was the sentence? Repeat. As per this section, the AO shall issue a direction to the assessee requiring him to get his accounts audited by a CA nominated by CIT or CCIT. This way you should be able to say word to word. Okay. See, in the initial chapters, wordings you try to by heart as it is in a proper legal language. Because see, for you it's a new topic, but I know since several years I am teaching and I have noticed students are not able to write the answer in a proper English. English, see, you know English, but a proper legal language. That legal English students are not able to reproduce properly. So in short, put efforts to by heart. And whenever I am repeating some sentence, you also repeat in mind and put your efforts to by heart. It should not happen that I am trying to making you by heart and you are thinking, I understood. I also know you understood, but after understanding, you should be able to speak, na? So speak. How will you speak this? As per this section, the AO shall issue a direction to the assessee requiring him to get his accounts audited by a CA nominated by CIT, CCIT. Okay. Then, next point is, this audit is compulsory even if the accounts are already audited. What did I say? This audit is compulsory even if the accounts are already audited. You know why this point is put in the law? Because every assessee will naturally react in what way? He will say, my accounts are already audited. Huh? Why will I do the audit again? So that's why law is saying, boss, we also know this audit is compulsory even if your accounts are already audited. The audit which you already done, that was a formality audit. This is the main audit where we want to inquire. We want to know your real profit. Then next, the report of the audit should be submitted by assessee to AO within the time prescribed by the AO. Means what? In the letter which you get, see the letter which you get is called what? Direction. In the direction they will write, you do the audit and submit the report in 90 days. So if he has mentioned 90 days, report has to be furnished within 90 days. Yes, if you are not able to furnish the audit report within 90 days, you request for extension. But you have to respect the time prescribed by the AO. But extension also there is a rule. The time can be extended up to maximum 180 days. 180 days is fixed, you will have to by heart. See, originally how much time you will be given, there is no fixed rule for that. That assessing officer will decide. For example, I am assessing officer, I can ask you to send the audit report in 90 days, 100 days, 25 days, 40 days, 60 days. Originally how much time you will be given, that is AO's choice. But that time can be extended up to 180 days. This is fixed by the law. Okay. So tell me, how will you write this point in exam? The audit report should be submitted by assessee to AO. The assessee will get from the CA. Report of audit who will make? Obviously CA. So assessee will get from CA, but then assessee has to submit to AO. What law says? The audit report should be submitted by assessee to AO within the time prescribed by AO. However, such time can be extended, but the total time, total means total, original plus extension. The total time should not exceed 180 days. You know why I am stressing on the word total? Means originally if you are given time of 100 days, you might get extra 80 days only. Because the total time, original plus extension, should not exceed 180 days. Students ask me the doubt, sir, how will you calculate 180 days? It depends upon when did you get the letter. So imagine, this letter is called what? Direction. See this, I have written a direction. So imagine, I got the direction for audit on 9th of June. So 9th June you don't count. Counting starts from the next day. So ignore 9th June, from 10th June, 11th June. This way you have to count. And originally you have to submit within the time prescribed by AO. But if you are not able to do it, then it can be extended till 180 days. What is the logic of 180 days? See, what government thinks, if accounts can be maintained in 12 months period, it can be checked in half year. Means biggest accounts also, if you can maintain in 12 months. So checking should happen fast. The accounts are for how many months? 12 months. See, we maintain books of accounts of 1 year, right? So 1 year you took to maintain the books. To write the books you took 1 year. But to check you should take less time. So round about half year. Half of 1 year is what? 180 days. So approximately 180 days it comes to. Okay. So this is the thinking of the government, that if books can be written and maintained in a 1 year period's time, so it should be checked little faster. So checking should not go beyond 180 days. In worst case, originally assessing officer will say, I want audit report in 10 days, 25 days, 50 days, 60 days, depending upon the size of books of accounts. But extension can happen till 180 days. And this audit report in real life, it is made in form 6B. In your article shape, you have seen form 3CB, 3CD. That is audit report of routine audits. What is the audit form for audit report? 3CB. And for company type of assessee, it is form 3CA. So 3CA and 3CB are popular form for audit reports. But that is which audit? The routine audit which every assessee has to do. This audit is done in form 6B. You don't have to remember the form number. I am just trying to say the form which you fill in your article shape, that's a form for routine audit. This is a routine audit or special audit. Special audit as required by the government department, because they want to check your profit. And they want to get it checked through a CA who is nominated by them, not by assessee. And then last point, expenses of the audit. Who will bear the expense? Government will bear the expense. Generally, a student will expect what assessee will bear. But you only think if expenses are borne by assessee, how bad it is. What assessee will say, already we got our accounts audited through a CA and it was not free of cost. We already spent on audit. So now you want us to get our accounts audited again, and there also you want us to incur the expense again. And see what assessee will see, you have doubt on my accounts, you incur the expense. I am true, I am honest. And as told by you people, we have already got our accounts audited. You know what is the section requiring you to audit the routine audit? 44AB. Section 44AB is a normal section for routine tax audit. So what assessee will say, we have already done our routine audit, we already incurred the expense. Now you have a doubt that our profit is not truly shown. So you incur the expense. Why should we incur? Obviously, assessee will not, he doesn't have to argue. But keeping that in mind, law has already made the provision such a way that okay, assessee will not have to bear the expense. Who will bear? Government. Assessee has to simply cooperate. If he has got a direction to get his accounts audited, he should cooperate and fulfill what is asked. Don't worry about money. Who will spend the money? Government. Okay. But see, here also it is like this. How much expense should be incurred? CIT, CCIT will decide. And who will pay? Government. See, there are two things. Who will determine the amount of expense and who will pay? Who will determine? Who will pay? Who will determine that how much has to be spent? See, determination is also important, because in every audit we have to decide how much to pay to the CA, how much for out-of-pocket expenses. So amount is to be decided by CIT, CCIT. Payment he will not do. Why will payment be done by CIT, CCIT? He is an employee in government department. CIT, CCIT, they are employees. Why will they pay from their pocket? Payment will be done from the funds of government. CIT, CCIT will decide the amount. You know why I am stressing this way? Because I have seen many people in the exam, you know what they write? Expenses will be paid by CIT, CCIT. Innocent answer. But you only think, why will he pay? He is an employee. He will determine the amount, but payment will be done by central government. Okay. So see, these 4 points are given in section 142 2A. Did you count? 4 points are there. And I have made a keyword for that, Dakre. What is the keyword? Dakre. Dakre. Dakre means D-C-R-E. What is D? Direction. C for compulsory. R for report of audit. E for expenses. Okay. Yes, you have a doubt? Yes, your time will be extended. See, his doubt is what? His doubt is what? Sir, assessing officer has a deadline of doing the assessment of this 12 months. I told you, na? Once they take up my assessment, they have to finish it in 12 months duration. They have to finish it in 12 months duration. But during this period, if assessee is given a letter to get his accounts audited, so audit will consume so much of time. So let's assume audit consumed 180 days full. So out of 12 months, 180 days got lost in audit only. So your time gets extended. Your time gets extended. See, this point will actually come later, but since he has asked me right now, I have addressed the point right now only. So what was the point? If due to the audit, this 12 months time gets wasted, so he will be compensated by additional time. That means his time will be not just 12 months, it will be 12 months plus 180 days. I am assuming full 180 days went in audit. Maximum 180 days report has to be submitted in worst case. Actually, it can happen little early also. For example, AO told him to submit the report in 100 days. He might have done the audit and submit the report 100 days also. But in worst case, it can be extended till 180 days. Huh? So, in such case, the time limit of 12 months, which I was saying since last lecture, it will get extended by another 180 days. Okay. So, this was his doubt. And it's but obvious. Otherwise, what assessing officer will say? That I am given 12 months to do the assessment. Assessment is the main thing. But in checking of books of accounts only, most of the time got lost. So he will be compensated by additional time. Okay. The assessing officer is also having a pressure of deadline. Huh? Like you people, when you do articleship, how you have the pressure of deadlines that you have to do the work by this date, that date. So this way, assessing officer is also an employee in government department. He is also having the pressure of deadlines. And for him, the deadline is what? If he takes up an assessment, he has to finish within 12 months from the end of AY. How should you produce this sentence? 12 months from end of AY. See, from end of AY means the counting is from end of AY. But part of AY is also included. But when you speak in proper legal language, how should you say 12 months from the end of AY? So for him, this is a deadline. He has a pressure. Imagine you are the employee in government department. So every employee has a pressure of doing the work in deadline. So his deadline will get extended. Okay, so that was his doubt which I addressed right now. So the point is, what was the last thing I was saying? Under section 142 2A, there are 4 points the student has to remember. The keyword is DACRE, direction, compulsory, report and expenses. Now, in this, there is further detailed discussion. Look, there is one more keyword I have written here. This direction can be issued by AO if these 3 conditions are satisfied. See, there are 3 conditions which AO has to satisfy. Then only he has the power to issue direction to the assessee. Are you understanding? Who has issued this letter to whom? AO has issued a letter to the assessee requiring him to get his accounts audited. But to issue this letter, there are 3 conditions. NPO. N stands for AO should consider the audit as necessary. The AO should consider the audit as necessary. Then only he can require assessee to get the accounts audited. You know, this way what law is trying to say? Unnecessary, don't bother assessee. Just because assessing officer is given a power, he should not misuse the power. Only if the AO genuinely feels that his accounts is to be audited, it is necessary. Only if the necessity is felt, then only he should use this power. This is the moral responsibility of assessing officer, that he should not unnecessarily bother every assessee just because he is given the power. He is harassing everyone. You also do audit, you also do audit. He is asking everyone to get the accounts audited and everyone is put on work. But that's not fair, na? So first condition is what? N for AO should consider the audit as necessary. Then P. P stands for he should take the permission of CIT or CCIT. You know, assessing officer is junior. His senior is CIT or CCIT is super senior. So, you know, if I am assessing officer, so first I should feel audit is necessary, audit is necessary. Then just by feeling, I cannot issue the letter. I have to take permission of CIT or CCIT. Means I will tell CIT, CCIT, sir, this assesses books of accounts I have checked and everything is confusing. I fully doubt about his profits. I feel his audit is must. Please give me permission. And only if permission is granted, he will send a letter. So what was N? First AO should consider necessary. And then CIT, CCIT should give the permission. and after he gets the permission, assessee will be sent a letter. This letter is called what? Direction. Okay. Now, one more condition is there. Assessee should be given an opportunity of being heard. Assessee should be given an opportunity of being heard. You know what will happen? Once assessee is given a letter, what will be the immediate reaction of assessee? What nonsense? Why audit? I have already done audit through my CA. Now once again audit, what nonsense? So he will not like it. So in such case, he will visit income tax office. Income tax office in Mumbai. Where is the income tax office? BKC, Bandra Kurla complex. So assessee will visit income tax office and he will talk to AO. AO, I have got a letter. It is asking me to get my accounts audited. Why? Why audit? So this way assessee will ask. And now what AO should do, he should give him the reasons. AO cannot say, what you are asking me, why? It's my order. Do what is asked. This should not be the behavior of the assessing officer. How should AO behave? If assessee is asking, sir, why audit? So he should give the reasons. He should supply the reasons. And if assessee does not supply, if the AO does not supply the reason, AO is wrong. See, just because he is given the power, he cannot just order everyone. See, he has got right to order, but then assessee also has the right to ask for the reasons. So when assessee is asking for the reason, AO should supply the reason. And when AO supplies the reason, assessee will answer back. For example, AO says, no, in your books of account, this is confusing, then assessee can clarify. Assessee will say, what is so confusing? See, this is so clear, there is no confusion. So if assessee is given a chance to speak, maybe some misunderstanding can be sorted. So that is what law says, assessee should be given a chance to speak. That's what I have written here. Assessee should be given an opportunity of being heard. In exam, don't write assessee should be given a chance to speak. See, giving a chance to speak means what? AO will say, you want to speak? You speak. I am listening. Sorry. You want to speak? You speak. I am going out and having some tea. See, it should not happen that assessee is simply speaking. If he is speaking, he should be heard. Otherwise, see, if you write assessee should be given a chance to speak. Imagine if law would also have written assessee should be given a chance to speak. What AO will say? You want to speak? You speak. I am coming in 5 minutes, you speak. So that should not be the case. If he is speaking, he should be heard. So that's why law has also tactfully used the word assessee should be given an opportunity of being heard. Means he should be heard. And maybe it happens that after hearing the assessee, AO might think, oh, that means I had some misunderstanding. Okay, no need to get audit. That should be the behavior of AO. Okay. But see, out of this NPO, N and P will happen before sending the letter. O will happen after sending the letter. See, obviously, all the three conditions AO has to fulfill. But out of the three conditions, first two conditions will happen when? Before sending the letter. This letter is called what? Direction. Means first AO should consider audit is necessary. Then he should seek the permission of CID, CCID. Then he will issue the letter. And after the, see, I want you to visualize this as a picture. So first N happened, then P happened, then letter was issued, and then imagine assessee sitting at home. He was shocked with the letter. He visited income tax office. He was saying why. Then AO explained why. Then he gave some reasons. No, there is no need for audit. You have some misunderstanding. This communication should happen and AO should allow that communication. He should hear assessee. You know how these questions are asked in paper? They will give one big paragraph of theory and somewhere they will write assessee was not given opportunity of being heard. It's obviously they will write full 10 to 11 lines answer question they will create. But somewhere they will write assessee was not given opportunity. And at the end, you know what they will ask? Is the direction direction issued under section 142 2A valid? So what you should say? It is not valid. It will be called valid only if assessee was given opportunity being heard. Or sometimes in the question they will say direction was given without taking permission. And then they will ask, is the direction valid? Answer is not valid. In short, they will ask in the question about the validity of the direction. So how will a student answer? If a student feels all the three conditions from N, P, O are satisfied, your answer should be what? The direction issued by AO is valid. Okay. This direction is issued under which section? 142 2A. Okay. Now see, in NPO, what was N? AO should consider necessary. Now tell me, what is the criteria to prove that audit was necessary? Because see, if I am assessing officer, if I want to harass the assessee, I will always say I felt audit was necessary. Even though it was not needed, but I wanted to harass the assessee. I wanted to take some bribe from assessee to torture him. There are such people also in India. No? So what is the test to decide whether audit is necessary or not? So see, here there is a further discussion. Look, can you see on this screen I have written NV Daman. There is one keyword NV Daman. Read this, NV Daman. This is the test to decide whether audit was necessary or not. So see, in NV Daman, N stands for nature and complexity of the accounts. That means see, if AO went through your accounts and he felt the accounts are complicated, and then if he says audit is necessary, the AO is right. You know, this right wrong fight happens in a court. Many times the matter goes to the court. And what is the argument of assessee? For no reason I am asked to get my accounts audited. This is the argument of assessee. And how will AO defend? No, I felt the audit is necessary because the accounts are complicated. So AO is right. So what was N in NV Daman? Nature and complexity of the accounts. Feel the word complexity. Complexity means accounts are so complex and complicated. If that can be proved by AO, AO is right. And assessee has to do what is asked. Okay. So N was nature and complexity of accounts. V stands for volume of accounts. See, I want you to imagine as if the court case is going on. Huh? See, everyone will not start arguing and file a case. But just to understand, imagine there is a case. And assessee's argument is what? For no reason he is asking me to get my books audited. So AO can defend. I felt audit necessary because of the volume of accounts. What is V in NV Daman? V for volume. Volume is a size. See, some people have books of accounts of hardly 5 to 10 pages. Or some people have books of accounts of 25 pages. But imagine assessee's books of accounts was running into 1000 pages. So such a volume of accounts, anyone will have a doubt. So if volume is the reason, audit is necessary. See, actually, you know, what in real life, when the relevance of these points come, you know, when there is a case in the court, and in the court the argument is assessee might blame government department that for no reason I am forced to get my accounts audited. See, everyone do not file a case. Just to understand extreme cases what happened, and assessee can argue in a court. He can go to High Court, Supreme Court. He can say, why for no reason I am asked to get my accounts audited. So in such case, AO can defend by NV Daman. So in NV Daman, what was N? Nature and complexity of the accounts. V for volume of accounts. D for doubts about the correctness in the accounts. Doubts about the correctness in the accounts. Means if AO can say, look at this account, see this journal entry, and then see this journal entry, obviously there is a doubt. So if AO can show that there is a doubt about the correctness of the accounts, then AO is right. Then M, multiplicity of the transaction in the accounts. Sometimes, multiplicity can also create a doubt. Like for example, a coaching class. A coaching class has filed a return. Now tell me, in coaching class books of accounts, which transaction you will find repeatedly? Fees from students, fees from student, fees from student, fees for video lecture, fees for face-to-face lectures. Fees transaction will come repeatedly. But imagine in my books of accounts, assessing officer found commission received repeatedly. Commission. Tell me how coaching class business is connected with commission. So he will have a doubt. Means imagine my books when I submitted, AO saw that apart from the fees from students, in the books of accounts of Shirish Vyas, I can see so many entries of commission. So commission entry coming in multiplicity can create a doubt. So this was example of multiplicity of a transaction. What was the transaction in my example? Commission. Multiplicity means it is in multiples. See, if I receive fees again and again, if there is a multiplicity of the transaction of fees from students, it cannot be doubted. But my business is a coaching class, so why I am getting commission again and again? So this can create a doubt. I am just giving one example that sometimes multiplicity of a particular transaction can also create a doubt in the mind of AO. And because of that, if he is asking me to get my accounts audited, AO is right. Then NV Daman, last alphabet, nature of the business. Some people have a business where there is lot of manipulation. Like construction line. Means imagine I am a builder, I am a person in construction line. And you also know, all the builders who construct the properties, when they sell the property, half of the money they take it in cash. Imagine I am Raja, Rustamji, Kalpatru Towers. So I am into real estate business. And everyone knows in real estate business, when you construct a building, in a building there are so many flats. One flat is sold for 5 crores. And half of the money builder will take it in cash. So everyone knows this. So the nature of business is doubtworthy. So sometimes this also can be a stand of AO. That how can I trust a builder? Their business, everyone knows. Half of the money they take it in cash when they sell the flats. So it is doubtworthy. So this also can be a reason for feeling the audit necessary. See, don't forget I am explaining what what is the conditions which will prove that audit is necessary. Which things can prove that audit was necessary? So NVDMN. So tell me the full form. What was N? Nature. See, this N was nature of the accounts. Nature and complexity of the accounts. Last N was nature of business. I hope you are awake. N for nature and complexity of accounts. Last was nature of business. V, volume of accounts. Doubts about the correctness in the accounts. Multiplicity of a transaction in the accounts, that commission example. And at the end, nature of the business. And see, along with NV Daman, there is one more criteria to fulfill. Interest of revenue. What do you mean by interest of revenue? Benefit of government. That means what if I am AO, I should feel that after audit, government will be benefited. Tell me how government will be benefited. Maybe it happens that the profit which you have shown of say 100 crores, after audit we will come to know your true profit. The profit which you have shown 100, it may become 500 crores. If the profit increases, your tax will increase. If your tax increases, government will be benefited. And only if there are chances that government will be benefited, then only audit should be felt necessary. See, these instructions law is giving to department. See, law is not for public only. Law is for the department also. Assessing officer sits in the department, even he has to follow the law. So what, imagine as if law is talking to AO. So what law is telling AO? AO, your feeling of necessary should come from NV Daman plus interest or revenue. just don't hold to envy Daman. Volume, multiplicity. Okay. You should also check whether government will be benefited. Just because you feel the accounts are voluminous, it's okay. We understand volume of accounts can create a doubt. But you have some estimate, and you should estimate and see that it may happen that after audit tax amount will increase and government will be benefited. If you feel that, then only go for this procedure of audit. Okay. Otherwise, don't waste your time and don't waste the time of assessee also. No? In short, see, actually I was doing research on what? N. N for audit should be felt necessary. Keeping in mind NV Daman plus interest of revenue. So see, if these two conditions are satisfied, then feeling of necessary is correct feeling. Which two things? Any one thing from NV Daman. Huh? See, in NV Daman also, every criteria you don't have to fulfill. Huh? Any one thing from NV Daman plus interest of revenue. Revenue means government department. Interest means their benefit. Means audit should happen in the way that it should benefit the government. So if these two conditions are satisfied, N is satisfied. And after N, what was the other condition? Take permission of CIT, CCIT. Means, you know, if I am AO, first I have to do all this process. Then I will go to my boss. So see, all this will go in my mind only. See, I am AO. In my mind, NV Daman should come and I should feel, yes, if I get his accounts audited, if I ask him to get his accounts audited, government will be benefited. This should go in my mind. So my mind is working well. Then it is, AO is feeling necessary. Then next step is talk to your boss, CIT, CCIT. And if he gives the permission, send a letter. And after you send a letter, assessee will react. He will come to the office, talk to him, hear him what he's trying to say. Maybe some misunderstanding can be sorted. So this way it happens, okay. See, actually, if you see all this thing in the study material, it is given at such a great length. I have made it so concise and compact in one drawing only. One drawing only will cover everything. Whole section 180, 142. Okay. Just for comparing, you can just see in study material once, section 142, how it is given in the study material. Then you will be able to value the notes. And see, why I want you to value the notes, so that you write it very nicely. Because see, if you have the value of something, you will give importance to that. Okay. So write these notes very neatly, because on exam day, it will get over so fast. Only thing is, in my printed book, everything will come with full form. Here I have written the short forms. Okay. So in Dakre, D was little detailed. Dakre, understood Dakre? In Dakre, D was little detailed. So see, best way to remember Dakre, in Dakre D, and in D, NPO, and in N, NV Daman plus interest of revenue. Okay. Then, tell me, this audit and all this happens when? I'm repeating one point. After the due date, in this part of AY, after that 12 more months, during this period, all this thing happens. Okay. Now, one more thing. Nowadays, you know, when they send this direction can be of two types. Either it will require you to get your accounts audited, or you may be required to get your stock valued, stock valuation. See, long back only one type of direction was issued. Nowadays, there are two types of direction issued. Direction 1 is for getting your accounts audited. Another direction is getting your stock valued. Getting your accounts audited should be done through a CA. Getting the stock valued should be done through a cost accountant. But whether it is a CA or a cost accountant, it will be nominated by CIT, CCIT. So see, direction can also come for stock valuation. So actually, technically, what is the title of 142(2)(a? It is not just special audit. It is special audit or special stock valuation. Okay. Tell me why they are interested in stock valuation. Value of the stock will determine the GP. Tell me, how do you get gross profit from the trading manufacturing account? And in the trading account, just imagine the template: opening stock, purchases, sales, closing stock. So if the stock amounts are manipulated, you can manipulate the gross profit. And once gross profit is manipulated, eventual net profit is also manipulated. So that's why sometimes they doubt the value of the stock. Especially this happens in big manufacturing entities. They have got three types of stock: raw material, work in progress, finished goods. So stock valuation is also doubted. So if assessing officer has a doubt that the stock value shown by the assessee is not proper, if he has a doubt, he will give a direction to the assessee requiring him to get his stock valued by a cost accountant nominated by CIT, CCIT. The cost accountant will not be appointed by you. It will be nominated by CIT or CCIT. And here also, the stock valuation report should be submitted within the time prescribed by AO. However, this time can be extended up to 180 days. And the expenses of stock valuation will be decided by CIT, CCIT but paid by government. In short, everything is same which I said for audit is also applicable for stock valuation. Okay. Now tell me, if you are listening to me carefully, can you tell me where you saw the role of CIT, CCIT? I will give you a hint. Three roles we have seen of CIT, CCIT. In this whole picture of special audit, special stock valuation, CIT, CCIT came into the picture thrice. Correct? Correct? One more point. This is where concentration is measured. CITs, because see, if you just listening like a raw explanation, after some time everything will be faded. You should be so precise and you should have precision. CIT, CCIT, sir is repeatedly saying. So you count in your mind. 3 times I talked about CIT, CCIT. I will go in the order. Firstly, when you send direction, in the direction what they write? Audit or stock valuation should be done by CA or cost accountant nominated by CIT, CCIT. So nominating the chartered accountant or the cost accountant is the job of CIT, CCIT. See, AO will just order you. Audit, 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 audit. But who will be the CA? That AO doesn't decide. CIT, CCIT. So deciding your CA or the cost accountant, as the case may be, is done by CIT, CCIT. This is rule number 1. Second, permission. Giving the permission for audit and stock valuation, it is in the hands of CIT, CCIT. And determining the amount of expense to be incurred on audit or stock valuation, that is also in the hands of CIT, CCIT. So he has got 3 roles in the picture. See, every activity is done by AO, sending him the letter and giving opportunity to the assessee of being heard. Everything means the main role is played by AO. But there are 3 important roles of CIT, CCIT: deciding the CA, then CA or cost accountant, then giving the permission, then deciding the expense to be incurred. Because see, since government has to incur the expense, they cannot spend any amount. Na? So they have given the job to CIT, CCIT. The government department will have to spend. Na? So you decide, you fix a limit that everything should happen in this much amount only. Okay. So deciding the expense is also in the hands of CIT, CCIT. In short, he has got 3 roles to play. And see, when I say CIT, CCIT, It can be either CIT or CCIT, anyone. Actually, they are two different persons, huh? But anyone can play the role in this picture. Now see, tell me, in this whole theory, there were two letters which you got. See, here you don't get any letter. In 142.2, what happens in 142.2? He is gathering information from other sources. He is not giving you letter, na? So tell me, when will I get letter in 142.1 and 142.2a? Here assessee is asked to do something. Only thing is 142.1, he is asked to file the return, produce account, furnish information. Here he is required to get his accounts audited. But if you don't respond to these letters, there is a penalty of 10,000 under section 272A. Now look at my English. Failure to comply with. Failure to comply with notice under section 142.1 or direction under section 142.2a. Please notice my wordings. I repeat. Failure to comply with notice under section 142.1 or direction under section 142.2a shall attract penalty of 10,000 per default under section 272 capital A. 272A, and that A is not in bracket, it is open A. See why I am saying so small things, you know, because I have seen students writing casually 272 bracket A. See, bracket means it is main section is 272, inside there are points A, B, C, D. See, after the main section, if there are sub points, we write it in bracket. But here it is what you know, 272 A itself is the main title of the section. Okay. So what does this section says? If you don't comply with notice under section 142.1 RAI notice or direction under section 142.2a, then you will have to pay penalty of 10,000 per default. What do you mean by per default? Per default means, imagine a person got all the three notice in RAI notice. RAI. See, RAI notice, I call it RAI, but technically there are three different notices. RAI. And just imagine you got notice of R also, A also, I also, and you didn't respond any notice. So you committed three defaults. See, I am just trying to count the number of defaults. So maximum you can commit 4 defaults here. How 4? In fact 5. How 5? In RAI notice, RAI 3, and in special audit, it can be special audit also, stock valuation also. Obviously, one person will not get all the notices together. I am just counting the number of defaults. So either R is not fulfilled in RAI, or A, or I, and then in direction also there are two types of direction, audit and stock valuation. This way maximum there can be 5 defaults, and for each default 10,000 is the penalty fixed. Okay. Plus one more consequence, AO will get angry. When you don't respond him, he will get angry, and then he will just reject your return, and he will calculate your 5 heads of income based on his own judgment. That is another scary thing. One thing is you will have to pay penalty. Another thing is what? He will get angry that you are not responding me, you are not cooperating. To hell with you and to hell with your return. I will calculate your 5 heads of income based on my own judgment. That itself is a horrible thing, because his judgment will be so horrible that he might levy huge tax. Okay. So see, read this. If RAI notice is not complied or direction is not complied, for non-compliance, there is a penalty under section 272A. How much? 10,000 per default. That I already said. And in addition to the penalty, there is one more consequence which I have not written here, but soon you will understand. What was the other consequence? He will calculate your income based on his own judgment. See, every assessee should prefer what you know. If you want to calculate my income, take my return as the base. Take my return as the base. Don't apply your judgment, please. This is the preference of the assessee. But if you want that he should take your return as the base, cooperate with him. But if you don't cooperate, what will be his attitude? To hell with your return. I will apply my judgment and calculate your income. That is dangerous. Okay. Now see, try this point. I am asking you one question. See, this is my previous year and this is the assessment year. And after that, till 12 more months, assessment can happen. Okay. Now, what is the due date of filing the return? July, October, November. Latest you can file the return till 31st December. This is the cutoff for belated return. Correct? Now, in exam, one question had come like this. An assessee received a RAI notice. Wait. An assessee received a RAI notice on this date. Focus on the data. On this date you got RAI notice and you were asked to file the return. And what was assessee's reply, you know? I will not file the return because the time for filing the return has gone. What is the latest time for filing the return? 31st December. And assessee is not ready to reply. What was the notice sent to him? Please file the return. In RAI notice, what is R? Please file the return. So imagine that notice I got during this period. Means, can you see this 12 months? In this 12 months time, I am asked to file my return. And what is my reaction? No, I cannot file the return now. The latest date of filing the return is 31st of December. But what is the right answer? You will have to file the return. See, if you want to voluntarily file your return, latest you can file up to 31st of December. But this return is not voluntary. AO is demanding. If assessing officer is demanding the return, you have to furnish it. You cannot stick to 31st December. See, 31st December is a deadline for what? People who voluntarily file the return, they have to file latest by 31st December. But that is for people voluntarily filing on their own. But if they are asking for your return, they can ask anytime. Anyways, as I told you, in this whole period, income tax department is in active mode. Can you see this black color which I have highlighted? See this? In this whole period, income tax department is in active mode. And in their active mode, if they find someone's return is missing, they can ask you to submit the return anytime. They can even ask you on towards the end of 12 months. Here you cannot say, no, I will not submit the return. See, when you have to file it on your own, be in your limits. But when they are asking, they can ask anytime. So see, one good chart I have made. See this. Return voluntarily filed and demanded by AO. What is the difference? Return voluntarily filed and demanded by AO. If it is voluntarily filed, we call it is section 139(1). You know, when you upload the return on the income tax website, you have to put this section, you have to select the section also, return under which section. So whenever you file it on your own, you have to write section 139(1). Although you might say, sir, but belated return had a different section. Huh? What was the section for belated return? 139(4). See, 139(4) simply permits for belated. But belated also is on your own only, na? And every return filed on your own is broadly called 139(1). It is just 139(4) is an extension of 139(1), which simply permits you to file late. But when you are filing the return online, this is laptop. When you are selecting my return is under which section, so late filer also has to select 139(1). Okay. But if you are filing the return because you got the notice from AO, then you have to select section 140 to 1. I don't know what type of work you are doing in articleship, but people you had the experience of filing the return online, you might have seen whenever you file the return online, you have to select your return is under which section. So you have to select the section also. So which section you should select? If it is filed voluntarily on your own, whether timely or belated, you have to select 139(1). But if it is demanded by AO, you have to select section 142(1). But voluntary return can be latest filed up to 31st December of the AY. That is the deadline for belated return. But what about return which is demanded? It can be filed even after 31st December. See, demanding of return can happen before December also, after December also. AO will say what this black area which sir has shown in black. In this black area, AO can do whatever he wants. Okay. So obviously, he can send you RAI notice before December also, after December also. Okay. So finally, we complete section 142. So this was one slide you have to remember. Another thing was non-compliance. And the another thing was there are two types of return voluntarily filed and demanded by you. Demanded return can be demanded anytime. Obviously, he cannot demand after this 12 months. After 12 months, assessment cannot happen. So at the most, he will ask you to file the return towards the end of the 12 months. But once the 12 months are over, then the time limit for assessment is finished. Thereafter, he will not even do anything to you. Okay. Yes, there is a concept of belated assessment. But that is not so easy. Tell me, what do you mean by timely assessment? What is belated? Timely means if they do the assessment in that 12 months time, come on, if they do the assessment within that 12 months time, it's timely. But sometimes that 12 months, during that 12 months time, assessment may not happen. Then it is called belated assessment. But belated assessment is not that simple. Even it has got a lot of conditions to be studied. But right now I was just trying to say what is timely assessment and what is belated. Timely means doing it within the time of 12 months from the end of AY. And if you don't do it in time, it becomes a belated thing. And belated thing is allowed in selected case only. Okay. Now just check the theory from this flowchart. We finished section 139(1) to 140A. Thereafter, I finished 142. 142 is over. It was there in three parts: 142(1), 142(2), 142(2A). After that, next thing is what? Assessment. Now, assessment broadly can be of two types: timely and belated. Timely and belated, I already told you right now. Now, timely assessment also has got three varieties: summary assessment, regular assessment, and best judgment assessment. All these assessments are called timely assessment. Now, first I will take section 143(1), summary assessment. Look. You know what is summary assessment? It is an assessment without inquiry. They will not do any inquiry. Imagine this is a return filed by you. This is a return. They will just trust your return. Even if a person earning 20 crores has shown 2 crores only, they will trust it. Because this assessment happens without any inquiry. It's surprising, but you know why? So it is not possible to do inquiry on each and every assessee filing return in India. Most of the assessees are taken in summary assessment. And in summary assessment, they will trust you. If you have shown income of this month, they will trust your income. But in your return, they will do some auto corrections through a software which they have built up in Bangalore city. In Bangalore, there is centralized processing center of Government of India. What did I say? Centralized processing center. It is there in Bangalore. So every person filing the return, his return will be trusted, but in the computer they will do some auto corrections. See, whatever can be done automatically, only that will be done. The idea of summary assessment is what you know. Human being do not have time to do the checking of each and every return. So they want to do it through a machine, through a computer. Some things are automatically adjusted. That is called summary assessment. So this is purely computerized without manual work. Okay. So see here, look at the drawing. Imagine this is the return filed by the assessee. Tell me, return runs into so many pages. But what is the main thing in the return? Income and tax. What is your income and what is your tax? So see, I have made a short and sweet drawing of the return, that in every return a person will declare some income and he will declare some tax. This return they will not scrutinize. Scrutinize means what? They will not doubt whether he has shown the income properly or not. Maybe you have shown income of 4 lakhs, but who knows 4 lakhs is proper or not. Your income might be 40 lakhs. So they will not do the checking whether the income is truly shown or not. But your return will go in a computer. It will go in a computer and there will be some auto corrections. What auto correction happens? I have listed in the keyword here. Can you see the keyword here? A lady. A lady. In this keyword, you will understand what type of corrections are done in the software. But see, summary assessment happens in a software only. Okay. But let me tell you one thing. Summary assessment is as good as no assessment. You know, nowadays what is happening? Every person who is filing the return in India, his return will go in a software in summary assessment. Okay. So imagine there are 100 people filing the return. Every 100 assessees return will be processed in the software. And from that 100 people, few people will be selected for scrutiny. Scrutiny means detailed inquiry. So see, when I am discussing summary assessment, you know what the students should think? This is as good as no assessment. This happens with everyone. Today I also file the return, you also file the return. Our return will by default be summarily assessed. Main assessment is what you know. This thing, look. This is the main assessment. When this assessment happens, you will be scared to death. Not literally death, but these assessments are scary. Why? Because here a person is going to drill you and he will dig out the truth. But in summary assessment, it is happening in a computer and computer doesn't know my culprit mind. Computer knows the calculations. He is perfect in doing everything, but he cannot catch a culprit mind. We never know, AI can become like that in future, but right now the computer, he will not come to know whether I have truly declared my income or not. Even if I say my income is 5 lakhs, computer will trust. Because he cannot catch the lie. But he can make some mathematical calculation error. That can happen. So that's what happens in summary assessment. Okay. But here some human being is going to drill you. So in short, main assessment is what? Either regular or base judgment. But you know, between regular and base judgment, what is the difference? This happens when the assessee cooperates. And base judgment happens when you do not cooperate. Both will not happen. Any one thing will happen. Which thing? Either regular assessment will happen or base judgment. See, I have written also. Either or. See, if an assessee cooperates with all the notices, he will be regularly assessed. But if you do not cooperate, then base judgment assessment will happen. But can you see this plus sign? This is going to happen. But you don't count summary assessment means my assessment is happening. Summary assessment by default, every return filer will have to go through summary assessment. Okay. So in short, best is what you know, if 100 people are filing the return, all 100 returns will be summarily assessed. But out of 100, few people will be selected for scrutiny. And if they cooperate, it will be regular assessment. If they do not cooperate, then it will be best judgment. So from regular and best judgment, it is either or. But summary assessment will by default happen with everyone. Okay. Now see, the next question is, how does summary assessment actually happen? See, it is done through computer only, but how does it happen? So see here, these are the 6 adjustments done in the income shown by you. Can you see the first alphabet is what? A. Arithmetical errors. Please imagine this is your return. Your return goes in the computer, and in the computer whatever mathematical mistakes are there, it will be auto corrected. As you know, computer is very expert in maths. So all the mathematical arithmetical errors will be automatically corrected. You know, this arithmetical error also, this also makes government gain a lot. You know, when we were student, government of India did not have a good software. So in our time, when we were student, how summary assessment used to happen, you know, you file the return, they will stamp and keep it. Assessment done. Because that time there was no computer and software. I cleared my CA in 97. In our time, when we used to do articleship, we used to physically file the return and they used to just stamp and keep it aside, done, summary assessment done. But you know, now they have built a good software, and you know, in software, if every person income increases by say 1000, 2000 also, little bit tax also from every return they get, they make good collection. But in our time, there was no corrections done in the return. Whatever return you file, they used to put a stamp and keep it aside, and we used to say summary assessment over. That was the way summary assessment used to happen, because that time everything was manual. But now since it is computerized, your return, they will not deeply check. But certain things will happen automatically through a computer system. And that system, they have kept it in Bangalore. And Bangalore is called Centralized Processing Center. Why centralized? Because every person's return is centralized in Bangalore, and processing means they are processing your return. So what was A? Arithmetical errors. Another A stands for apparent incorrect claims. What do you mean by apparent incorrect claims? Apparent means very obvious. See, if you have done some manipulation, actually computer will not come to know. Computer is straightforward. But certain things which are very obvious, computer will catch. Like, you know, under the head income from house property, what is the standard deduction? This much you should know, na, based on enter. Under the head income from house property, there is a standard deduction of 30%. From your rental income, 30% standard deduction you get. After me reminding, at least you can recall now. So imagine someone filed the return, and under the head house property, he took standard deduction of 40%. Whereas the law says 30%. This computer can catch. Because you know what government has done? The whole Income Tax Act, they have feeded in the computer. And once you feed the computer with the whole law, it can catch the inconsistency with the law. Like law says standard deduction should be 30% under the head income from house property. So computer will become stubborn. 30% means 30% only. But if in the return someone has claimed 40%, 50%, what will they do? Excessive deduction taken will be added back. Can you see this add sign? And see, computer is neither your friend nor your enemy. Means in case you have forgotten the standard deduction, he will give you also. Under the head house property, there is standard deduction, you know or not? So in case I filed my return and I forgot to claim standard deduction, so computer will give you. See, computer in Bangalore will not behave friendly or enemyly with you. It will do what is right and what is wrong. So if you have taken excessive deduction, it will be added back. If you have forgotten, he will give you the deduction. But only those things which can be verified with the law. Like see, if I made some fake bill of some fake expense, this computer will not be able to catch, because see, every bill it looks honest only na, but my bill is fake or original bill, this computer cannot catch. But something which are very obvious, it can be corrected. That's why, see, what was the full form of A? Apparent. Apparent means what? On the face of it you can make out. What do you mean by the word apparent? On the face of it you can make out that house property, how can you take 40% standard deduction when the loss is 30%? So these are called apparent incorrect claims. See one more example. You remember section 80C? Under 80C, you can get deduction of maximum 1,50,000. But you know, one person was acting smart. He took deduction under 80C of 5 lakhs. But computer is over smart. He caught it. Because in the software at Bangalore, whole income tax act they have feeded in the software. And in the income tax act, it is clearly mentioned under 80C, deduction cannot exceed 1,50,000. And if in your return, if you have claimed 5 lakhs, what will computer do? It will automatically add the excess deduction of 3,50,000 in your return. So these auto corrections happen. See, basically as a student, you know, you should be aware of what things can happen in auto corrections. So what was first A? Arithmetical errors. Second A, apparent incorrect claims. See, another example which I gave of 80C, even that was an incorrect claim. Correct claim is 1,50,000 in 80C. But if you claim 5 lakhs, it is incorrect claim. And it is doubtable or it is obvious. It is obvious. See, something which is debatable, computer will not touch it. But something which is obvious, computer will correct it. That is called apparent incorrect claims. Then, L stands for, imagine there was some brought forward loss. Imagine in my return there was some brought forward loss of say 2 years old brought forward loss. And in past I did not file the return on time. And you know what is the rule? If you don't file the return on time, losses cannot be carried forward. And see, I know I didn't file the return on time, but still, you know what I thought? How will government come to know? So in spite of me not filing the return on time, still I brought forward the loss and adjusted in my current year. But you know, this also computer can check. Tell me how computer will come to know that I was a late filer in past. Our filing date is saved in the computer record. Like see, 2-3 years back, when I filed my return, whenever I might have filed a return, that date is saved in their record. So with that date, computer is so smart, and nowadays AI is extremely smart. They can easily catch. What they can catch? That this is loss of 2-3 years old year, and that year assessee did not file the return on time. So he was a late filer. So how come he set off the loss in the current year? So he will add back. Oh, computer will add back. So this is L. L for what? Brought forward loss claimed in the return in respect of a past year, the return of which was not filed on time. Read, you have to speak. What was L? Brought forward loss. See, this point is about brought forward. See, current year loss you can adjust in the current year. Okay. Without the condition of filing the return on time. It is about some old loss. If I want to set off in this year, that year's return should have been on time. Okay. So what is this L? Brought forward loss claimed in the return in respect of a past year, the return of which was not filed on time. So computer will be shocked. So what will it do? It will add back. This is L. Okay. Then E stands for expenses claimed in the return but disallowed as per audit report. Means imagine this is my return. Imagine this is my return. In the return, I have claimed some expenses which were paid in cash. You know, in income from business, there is a rule that if any payment exceeds 10,000, you have to make it by account pay check. You cannot make the payment in cash. You remember this rule, then only I can proceed ahead. This is a basic rule, not that in income from business, if payment is exceeding 10,000, you cannot make the payment in cash. But you know what I did? I made several payments in cash. Still, I took the deduction and I made my net profit net. Thinking what? How will government come to know whether I make the payment in cash or check? How will they come to know? This way, you know what I did? I claimed all cash expenditure also in my net profit. But computer came to know. Can you guess how computer came to know? In the computer, my audit report is also submitted. 3CD. You know, whenever audit happens, every assessee has to submit 3CB, 3CD. And in 3CD, there is details of cash payment. So imagine I am computer, I will cross check. What are the two things? This is the return of the assessee and this is form 3CD. You know, in form 3CD, a chartered accountant has to report what? Cash expenditure. So see, as a computer, you know what brain I will use? In form 3CD, chartered accountant has reported some cash payment of 9 lakhs. So 9 lakhs cash payment. So it should be disallowed. And then in the return he saw net profit, there is nothing add back. See, actually, if there is some cash payment in the net profit, you have to add back. But that add back thing was missing. So what computer will do? Oh, you have just shown your net profit net. There is nothing like add back. So I will add back. This way computer brain works. Because see, in the computer data, your return is also there and form 3CD is also there. But see, whatever can be caught through 3CD, only that will be caught. Huh? Like, I don't know whether you have the experience of audit or not, but in audit you have seen, in form 3CD you also report payments without TDS. You have done audit or not? Okay, in audit you have to report payments without TDS. So imagine in form 3, this is form 3CD, huh? There are several payments on which TDS was not deducted. So such expenditures are disallowed. Huh? Disallowed means in the net profit it should be added back. But that add back thing was missing. So this way computer brain works. Okay, you didn't add back expense which are without TDS. Computer will add back now. Then one more thing, payment to relatives. You know, if you make payment to relative in your business, excess payment made to relatives is disallowed. So such reporting also comes in form 3CD. So that also he will check. And if he sees that there is some payment to relative, excessive payment, so it should be disallowed. So in the return, why you have not added back? So computer will add back. Okay. So this was E. E for what? Look, expenses claimed in the return but disallowed as per audit report. This is return and this is audit report. He will cross check. Expenses claimed in the return means netted off in the net profit but disallowed as per audit report. So disallowed expense should be add back in the net profit. So if you have not added back, computer will add back. Then D. You know what is D? Look, deduction under section 80 IA to 80 RRB and 10 AA. You know, these are called profit linked deduction. These are called profit linked deduction. You know why they are called profit linked? Because from your profit certain percentage you deduct. See, what are the 5 heads of income? Look, salary, house property, business, capital gains, income from other source. So in income from business, some amount you show that from that certain percentage you minus in chapter 6. These are called profit. Imagine these are 5 heads. And what is this head? Income from business. So in income from business, you show some amount. From that certain percentage you get as deduction under 80 IA to 80 RRB and 10AA. All these deductions are common in nature. They are called profit linked deduction. Deduction as a percentage of your profit. And profits means which head? Income from business. So to claim this deduction, you should file the return on time. But imagine a person didn't file the return on time. Still he claimed the deduction. Imagine I was eligible for 10AA. See, what is 10AA? All that I will explain one day, don't worry. By the way, it is a deduction for exporters. Huh? So imagine I filed the return and I claimed 10AA, 80IA, 80IB, blah blah blah. I claimed it in my return in spite of the fact that I filed my return late. And there is a condition that if you want to claim deduction under 80IA to 80RRB 10AA, you should file the return on time. But you know what people think? How will government come to know? Let me claim the deduction. Dekha jayega. Means what? We'll see later on. So people claim the deduction. But you know, computer is smart. In the computer, when the processing happens, the computer will notice there is deduction under 80IA to 80RRB 10AA. And dear assessee, your return has come late. So he will add back. Who will add back? Computer will add back. Actually, for the whole chapter 6A, there is no condition of filing the return on time. Huh? Like the section which you studied in CA Inter, 80C, 80D, those sections can be claimed even if the return is late. But sections which are called profit linked deduction, their filing of return should be done on time. But if you haven't filed the return on time, still you claim the deduction, so it will be added back in your income. See, why I've written plus and minus, you know. Most of the things they will add back. But sometimes minus can also happen. Like in my example of house property, someone forgot to claim standard deduction of 30%. So they will grant you the deduction. Then it will be less. But most of my other examples, if you see, they are adding back only. So tell me till D, then only I will explain I. Repeat. A for arithmetical errors. Another A, apparent incorrect claims. Apparent means which is very obvious and it can be understood. It is not debatable. Two examples I gave in apparent. Standard deduction 30% claimed as 40. ATC 1,50,000 claimed as 5 lakhs. So anything which is very obvious and not debatable, it can be caught by the computer. Then L, brought forward loss claimed in the return in respect of past year, the return of which was not filed on time. Then E, expenses claimed in the return, but as per audit report they are disallowed. Then D, deduction under section 80IA to 80RRB and 10AA claimed in the return, but the return is not on time. Then I, any other inconsistency compared to the return of preceding year. Repeat. Any other inconsistency in comparison with the return of the preceding year. Means, you know, computer will check your current year return and past return also. For example, in the last year's return, your closing stock was 1 lakh. Closing stock. So tell me, in the current year return, opening stock should be 1 lakh. But there is a mismatch. In the last year's return, closing stock is 1 lakh. But in the current year, opening stock is shown 5 lakhs. You know, Asas is smart. Why did he show 5 lakhs? Because opening stock amount is big. TP will be less. How do you find gross profit? Trading account credit side minus debit side. Opening stock comes on debit side. So assessee has smartly done what you know. Closing stock of last year which was only 1 lakh. In the current year he has shown opening stock as 5 lakhs. He has shown excessive amount so that current year's GP goes down. This also can be caught by the computer. This is called inconsistency compared with the return of previous year. Okay. In the current year, if the opening stock is 5 lakhs, Last year the same should be the closing stock, but it is not matching. See, this is just one example. Huh? This way, under depreciation, WDV, in income tax, depreciation we calculate as per WDV method. So last year's closing WDV should be current year's opening WDV. So that also should match. If there is no consistency in that, computer will react accordingly. Okay. By the way, this is the latest amendment. For students of May 26, September 26 and Jan 27, we are following budget 2025. Budget 2025 is applicable for students of May 26, September 26 and Jan 27. And in budget 2025, a new point came. Earlier my keyword was what? AA LED. That was only keyword in my past batches. But now this I point has been added. Okay. What does this I say? Any other inconsistency. Why they are writing other? Because here also there is some inconsistency. Like audit report, there are some cash payments. So in the return, it should be disallowed. So there is no matching. So this way, at the end, they have put one general point. Any other inconsistency in comparison with the return of the preceding year. They are trying to say we will check your return with the past year also. And in past year's return and current year's return, if there is some inconsistency, we will make that adjustments also. This is the latest amendment. Huh? Tell me why we are struggling on this, all this, Why are we struggling to remember all this? Because as a chartered accountant, when you do all this work in real life, you should have the knowledge that what adjustments can automatically happen in the computer software. This computer software is located in Bangalore city. Okay. So these are the adjustments which can automatically happen. So what is the way to remember the keyword? A lady. Okay. Now see, after all these adjustments, don't you think the income which you have shown will change? And the tax which you have shown will also change. And that changed figure is called adjusted income, adjusted tax. So this adjustments they will do. But what law says? Before doing this adjustment, you will be informed. You are assessee. Huh? So imagine I am Bangalore city centralized processing center. So computer is planning to do lady adjustments. But before they actually do the adjustment, you will get an email. In the email, what they will write? Dear assessee, we are proposing to add this much amount in your return. Do you want to say something? So you will be given a chance to reply. You know how much time you will be given? 30 days. I had 30 days. 30 days, 30 days, 30 days. 30 days from the date when you received the email. So imagine I got the email on 9th of December. So 9th of December I got the email. So from the next day I have got 30 days time to reply. But tell me, what is the logic of informing the assessee? Why government is informing the assessee? If they are confident about lady adjustment, they should do it, na? But they don't do lady directly. They inform you first. Because sometimes there can be misunderstanding. Like for example, see, I'll give you one example of misunderstanding. Huh? Misunderstanding with the IT department. Like see, what was this L? Brought forward losses. I have claimed in the return. But the computer thinks it is pertaining to some old year when my return was late. This is computer's thinking. But the reality is I was not late. But maybe the computer has a glitch. See, as you know, computer is after all a machine. It may have some error also. So their computer is showing what? I didn't file the return on time. But I know it is my return and I swear I filed it on time. So I have to give them a proof. that dear CPC, what is CPC? Centralized Processing Center, you might have some misunderstanding. You are thinking my return was late, still I adjusted the loss of that year. You are wrong. My return was on time and this is the proof. I have to reply them. This way, the misunderstanding can be sorted. But this is only if there is a misunderstanding. Imagine, actually my return was late. So what will I reply? Go ahead. Or I might not reply only. And they will wait till 30 days only. And till 30 days, if they don't receive the reply, they will move on. They were planning to add back, they will add back. But at least 30 days time I will be given. By chance, if there is some misunderstanding, I can clarify. So that's why that mail system is there. They don't directly do lady. They first give you a mail and they will wait for literally 30 days. And during 30 days, if they don't receive any reply, then they will do the add less thing. Add less thing, this means this add and less only, na lady, okay. Now, let's assume that 30 days are over. After that, all this adjustment happened. And imagine your tax became 14,000. It is a new amount. Huh? Now, this amount they will compare with how much you actually paid. Come on. This tax of 14,000 they will compare with how much you actually paid. So let's assume assessee has paid 10,000 only. Tell me how computer will come to know how much you paid. Because when you pay the tax, you have to show the proof of tax paid in the return. So when you file the return, you have to show how much you have paid and you have to show the proof also, challan, etc. in which bank you have paid. That details you have to give. So computer will come to know. Now, after lady, your tax has changed to 14,000, but you paid only 10,000. So what will they do? They will demand 4,000 from you. They will demand 4,000. And you know how will they demand? Will they give you a call? Hello, pay 4,000. What will they do? They will send one letter called intimation. What is it called? Intimation under section 143(1). Means they will intimate you. Here, your return has been processed in the computer and after processing, you have to still pay 4,000. So you will have to pay 4,000. Okay. And in case I have paid 16,000, whereas my tax is only 14, then I will get the refund. And if you get the refund also, they will send a letter. They will not call you and say you are getting refund. Good news. They will send a letter called intimation. See, I want you to by heart the word intimation under section 143(1). Either it will mention that you have to pay this much, or it will mention that you will get a refund of this much, or it can be no demand, no refund. Means imagine my tax is 14 and coincidentally I have paid exact 14. Then no demand, no refund. Actually, if there is no demand, no refund, there is no need to send the intimation. But many times you still get the intimation. At the end, what is written? Nil. In either you have to pay something or you get any refund, it is just nil. But see, it is not necessary that you may get intimation. Huh? In such case, you may or may not receive the intimation. But obviously, in case of demand and refund, they will send you the intimation. Okay. See, I have made one good drawing over here. Look. When you were a child, when you studied computer for the first time, you were taught through a keyword, input, processing, output. In computer, when you study computer for the first time, how you are taught? Computer is a machine where there is some input, some processing, some output. Same thing I have drawn here. See, this is the computer. Inside the computer, there is a software. And software it will do all AD corrections. But what is the input in my computer? Return. So return is the input. And in the computer, what is happening? All AD processing. And then a printout is generated. Printout. And that printout is what? Output. And this is called intimation. This will go to your assessee. and everything is through email only. The return is also filed online. Intimation is also sent online through email. Everything happens to computer only, na? But this is the best way to remember that our return becomes input for their computer, and inside the computer what happens, our lady, and then the output and the output which is generated, it is called intimation. This you will get through email. But this processing will happen immediately, or they will wait for 30 days. They will wait for 30 days. You know, in the computer, whenever there is RLAD correction, automatically it will stop. Computer is like a robot. So if there are some RLAD if there are some RLAD adjustments, a mail will be shoot immediately to the SSC, giving him a time of 30 days. So computer will come to an halt for 30 days. It will wait for the reply of the SSC. And after the reply of the SSC, then it will start processing. But they have to wait for 30 days. But see, for every SSC, they don't wait for 30 days. It is only for those SSCs where there are RLAD corrections. Like see, when I file my return, you know, in my return, there is no RLAD corrections. You know, when I file my return, I get the intimation immediately. They don't wait. See, that waiting for 30 days is there for whom? In those cases where there are some RLAD corrections, for them only they wait for 30 days. Because maybe in RLAD correction, SSC might have a different opinion. So we have to wait for his response. And after 30 days, if we get his response, we'll work accordingly. If no response, computer will proceed. In short, what I wanted to say, this software will halt for 30 days, not in every case. Only in those cases where there are RLAD corrections. Okay. And then see, when will you get the intimation? There is a time limit for intimation also. See, in income tax, everything is time bound. See, you know the time of return. When to file the return, tell me. If you want to voluntarily file, timely return up to July, October, November, late return up to 31st December, that is voluntarily filed. But sometimes you don't voluntarily file, it is demanded. Demanded return also goes in processing, you know. What is that demanded return? 142(1) RAI notice. So imagine I didn't file the return. Suddenly AO sent me RAI notice. And in response to RAI notice, I have filed a return. Such return also gets processed. See, computer is like a machine. Every return is welcome. Come on, everyone. Whether you file it on your own, you file on time, you file late, or you are asked to file the return, every return will be processed. So in short, tell me, this return also has a time, na? Either it will come up to July, October, or late filer will file up to December, or some people didn't file on their own. They were asked to file through RAI notice. In RAI notice also there is a time to file the return. So in short, just as for filing the return there is a time, there should be time for intimation also, na? See, everything in the law is time bound. So you know what is the time for intimation? 9 months. Within 9 months you will receive the intimation. Maximum 9 months. Huh? You can get early also. But maximum within 9 months you will receive intimation under section 143(1). And you know that 9 months is counted how? From the end of the year when you filed the return. Whenever you filed the return, for example, I filed the return in June. So till the end of the year, what is the end of every year? 31st March. After that 9 more months, means during this period, anytime I can receive the intimation. Get the screen, you will understand automatically. What did I say? Intimation should be sent by the department within 9 months from End of the year. See, counting is from the end of the year. But end of which year? The year when you filed the return. That means, see, in this period also you can get the intimation. And after the end of the year, 9 more months. I know here a student might have a doubt, but look at the drawing first. I know there are some doubt points over here. I will discuss everything. I know everything in advance only what student will get a doubt at what stage. Okay. You just focus on the drawing first. Tell me, this is my previous year. This is my assessment year. And what is this 12 months? During this 12 months, income tax department can do my assessment. So see, first let me clarify that 12 months thing which I have been saying since last lecture. That 12 months is the deadline for the main assessment. Summary assessment is as good as no assessment. Don't count summary assessment as assessment. Although in the spelling, the word assessment is appearing. Although in the spelling, in the title, the word assessment is appearing. But I would say don't call it as an assessment. Actual assessment, you know what is an actual assessment? What is the actual assessment? Regular, best judgment. This is the actual assessment. This happens in 12 months time. Last lecture, you remember I told you assessment may happen, may not happen. If it happens, it can happen in 12 months. That 12 months thing which I said, that was for the main assessment. And main assessment means either regular or best judgment. Why I am saying either or? People who cooperate with the department, they are done regular assessment. People who don't cooperate, best judgment. But this assessment is done in 12 months from the end of AY. AY. But summary assessment is as good as no assessment. This happens with every Indian. Everyone who files the return, summary assessment happens by default. And this happens in 9 months. 9 months from? Don't say from the end of AY. 9 months not from the end of AY. It is from the end of the year return is filed. Think why? See, as a student, I have a doubt. That sir, here you are saying what 12 months from the end of AY. Okay. And for summary assessment, firstly the time is different, 9 months. Why different? I justified, na? Because this and this both are happening. Can you see the plus sign? So see, when you file the return, your summary assessment will also happen. Plus, main assessment may also happen. May. See, summary assessment will confirm happen. Like see, today I also file my return. I am damn sure summary assessment will happen. But if my time is bad, then scrutiny may also happen. Scrutiny means this thing. So this is dicey, but summary assessment is confirmed. So tell me, what difference did you notice? This is happening in 9 months. This is happening in 12 months. But that 12 months counting is from the end of AY. But how do you count 9 months? From the end of the year in which return is filed. So you know here what students ask me, look. Sir, why are you saying 9 months from the end of the return is filed? Why can't we say from the end of AY? It's one and the same, na? See, in this drawing, what has happened? I filed my return in AY. And tell me what? Okay. What does the design mean? What does the design mean? What is the design indicating? During this period, anytime I can get intimation. Like if I filed a return in June, so I can get the intimation in July, August, September, October, November, December, Jan, Feb, March. And after March, 9 more months. April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. till the December of the next year, I can get intimation. So my doubt is what? So then why can't we say 9 months from the end of AY? Tell me, if I say 9 months from the end of AY, don't you think it will become wrong? Because 9 months time is for intimation. Intimation is processing of the return. And imagine if someone didn't file the return only in the AY. How will computer process it? You're not understanding. Intimation is after processing the return. So return is must. And imagine someone didn't file the return in AY. His return came in dispatch. Is it possible first? Is it possible someone's return comes here? Quite possible. See, on your own, if you want to file, it has to be filed latest up to 31st December of the AY. AY. But that is on your own. But sometimes, you don't file on your own. AO is demanding. And when AO demands, it can happen or not that my return came in this 12 months patch. Try notice. So tell me, if the return only didn't come in AY, how will computer do the processing? So it will be wrong to say intimation is sent in 9 months from the end of AY. If you write this way, you will get 0 marks. So what is the right way to say? Depending upon when you file the return. Yes, 99% you will find people filing return in AY only. Tell me when people file the return. Those who file on time, they file in July, October, or transfer pricing assessee 30th November, and late filers will file in 31st December of the AY. So mostly people will file the return in AY. But you never know, na? Imagine a person who didn't file the return only. Suddenly he got a RAI notice. And RAI notice was sent when, in this period. So RAI notice I got in that 12 months patch. Obviously my return will be filed in this 12 months patch. So if my return goes so late, the processing also will happen late. See, I have made a drawing only. Look here. Look at this. Look. Means now assume someone filed the return on this date. First believe it is possible, otherwise it is every explanation waste. Someone filed a return on this date. Is it possible? Obviously, see, although assessment year is gone, now you cannot file on your own. But assessing officer can send you RAI notice. And I got the RAI notice on this date. Look at the star. I got the RAI notice on this date. Obviously, my return was filed little late. And in response to RAI notice also, you have to file the return online. And when you file online, you have to select 140-1 return. What do you have to select? See, when you file online return, you have to select something, that your return is under which section. So you will select 140-1. And accordingly, computer processing will also start little late. So tell me, when will I get the intimation? Look, in this case, either I will get the intimation till the end of the year, or after the end of the year, there are 9 more months. And if you say, but sir, it is going beyond 12 months, let it go. Summary assessment is as good as no assessment. It can go on and on, it can be dragged, but obviously not beyond 9 months. See, this 12 months which I have written in my drawing, that is 12 months for what? For the main types of assessment, which is regular and best judgment. Summary assessment which I am currently discussing, it's not the main assessment. In fact, summary assessment is as good as no assessment. It can go even beyond this 12 months which I explained in the last lecture. Okay. So see, especially those who get RAI notice, and in response to RAI notice, when you file the return, So in the computer system, you only think the return went so late. So obviously your intimation will also be generated late, but latest up to 9 months. See, actually, 9 months is a time limit on the higher side. Nowadays, if you see in the real life, people get intimation in 10 days. I'll tell you my example only. I have my own partnership firm also, Vyas and Associates, CA firm, where I and my wife both are partner, both are chartered accountant partner. So I filed the return of my partnership firm. Okay. My partnership firm return was filed. Within 5 days, I got the intimation. Within 5 days. Here also some students will ask me the doubt. Sir, how come it is possible in 5 days? Because for 30 days, they have to wait, na? That is for people in whose case there is already adjustments. But in my case, there was no already. My return of my partnership firm was a simple return. Hardly something was there. I don't have any income in my practice. My income comes in coaching class only. That partnership firm I just formed for little bit of work. So what is the name of my firm? Vyas and Associates. So I have to file the return. But in that return, nothing is there. So there was no already. So within 5 days, see, if there is already adjustment, they will shoot a mail and then they will wait for my reply for 30 days. But in my case, there is no already. So as soon as I filed the return, within 5 days, I got a message that your return has been processed. Check the email. And I checked the email. What was there in my email? Everything I can check on the mobile. What was there in the email? Intimation under section 143(1). And my intimation was like this. No demand, no refund. Anyways, by giving my example, I wanted to convey that within 5 days also you get intimation. But on a higher side, 9 months. See, 9 months is the upper limit. Earliest it can happen. Okay. So tell me, express this sentence properly in proper English. I will give you a start. Intimation under section 143(1) should be sent to the assessee within 9 months from end of the year in which return is filed. After some days you will have doubt. Sir, why all the time limits are from the end of the year, end of the year, end of the year? So you only think, if the time limit was like this, 9 months from the date of the return. 9 months from the date of the return. So date of return for every person is different, Imagine some person filed the return on 9th May. Some people filed on 25th May. And some people filed on 10th June. Date will be different for every assessee. And imagine from the date, if you count 9 months, every person 9 months will come different and it becomes difficult for them to remember the dates. Just as you are also doing job in articleship, don't you have to remember the dates that when July comes, my boss will make me sit more. When October comes, September comes, my boss will make me sit more. You have to remember certain dates, na? So this way, government department, they also have to by heart the dates. And imagine if 9 months is counted from date to date. So there will be several deadlines. But if it is counted from the end of the year is always 31st March. And you can count from 31st March, count 9 months. April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. Now they just have to remember December. That by December, we have to make sure intimation is sent. This date, who has to remember? CPC. What is CPC? Centralized Processing Center. So now they have to just keep in mind 31st December. Because see, if someone say, I filed in June, I filed in July, whenever you file, when you file the return, the end of the year will be March only, na? See, this logic you keep in mind, na? Okay, see, right now this doubt you don't get. But after so many time limits come, every time you will wonder, why the time limits are like this from the end of the year? The logic is that, so that the cutoff date comes to some even date. If counting is done from date to date, The cutoff date comes to some awkward date. Okay. See, let me tell you before I proceed in this chapter, there are so many time limits. I swear, people, you talk to 10 CA aspirants, you talk to 1,000 aspirants, people find this topic horrible. And I bet you, you will find this topic very simple. I guarantee you. Because with concept I will explain and you will remember all time limits also. You know, there are people who literally leave this topic for option. But you know, I take this topic as first topic. Why? You know, because through this chapter, if I start, I can develop a good discipline in my students. Because this chapter will make you realize understanding, listening to the lecture is not sufficient. We will have to revise and memorize the time also. See, so many times will come. It is just started. Soon you will see there are so many time limits you have to remember. And that time you will realize that why sir is expecting every lecture to revise and come. Okay. So this 9 months is there. Okay. 9 months from the end of the year in which return is filed. Try this example. Huh? Try this. Imagine I filed a return before July. What do you mean by this R? R for return. So I filed a return on time. Later on, you know, I discovered there was some mistake. I wanted to revise the return. Can we revise the return? Yes, we can. But latest up to 31st December or before completion, which is earlier. So see, in my case, you know what happened? After filing the return, I got intimation. Let's assume on this date, I got I for intimation. And now I am shocked. I got the intimation. Here I am planning to revise the return and the computer is running on a horse. They are working so fast that after my return, they immediately send me the intimation. That happens in real life. Huh? You file the return, they send the intimation as soon as possible. But I wanted to revise. See, we work at a slow speed. But the computer in Bangalore, it works very efficiently. So now my tension is what? How will I revise the return? What is the limitation for revising the return? Either December or completion of assessment, whichever is earlier. So December is far, but assessment is completed, na? I received the intimation. Receiving the intimation is a sign of summary assessment. And last lecture, what did I say? When to revise the return? Either up to December or completion assessment, whichever is earlier. So in my drawing, whichever is earlier, what is earlier? Intimation is received early. It's earlier than December. And intimation means what? It's a sign of summary assessment. So my assessment is done. And after assessment is done, you cannot revise the return. That's what I said in the last lecture. But after assessment is done, summary assessment is as good as no assessment. That's what I said today also. I said twice, thrice. Summary assessment is as good as no assessment. So see, even if you receive intimation, don't create a scene. Oh my God, my assessment is done. You know why this tension is coming? Because see, look here. I don't know whether you remember the last lecture or not. Last lecture, what did I say? To revise the return, there are two limits. December and completion of assessment, which is earlier. So tell me, in my example, neither December has come nor assessment is completed. If someone says, no, you got the intimation, na? Intimation is nothing. It is as good as no assessment. So tell me, finally, in my example, can I revise? Yes, because December is yet to come and assessment is also not over. So I can still revise the return. You know, this is a very common query in real life. Many of my friends, you know, they call me for what, you know, yeah, Shirish, you are a CA, na? You just tell me, na? I had filed a return, I got the intimation. Now I want to revise. What should I do? So what do I tell them? Revise. But I got the intimation for IT department. Throw it in the dustbin. Throw it. You revise the return, file the return once again, you will get the intimation once again. Again you want to revise, once again file the return, you will get the intimation once again. See that computer works like a machine. Every time you throw the return, it will throw back the intimation. And you can revise the return multiple times, but not beyond 31st December. After 31st December, if your return comes, it will never accept it. Yes, after 31st December, voluntarily you cannot do. But RAI notice is okay. In short, see, this is a very famous question in exam paper. Huh? Which question? That they will create a situation that a person filed the return, he got the intimation also, now he is worried whether he can revise the return or not. So you should write, yes, he can revise. Because to revise the return, there are two deadlines, either 31st December or completion assessment, which is earlier. And in this case, neither the 31st December is gone, nor the assessment is completed. Assessee can still revise. You see, I have got still this much time. Look. I can still revise the return. So see, I have written here. Revise, and can you see the tick mark? I can revise. But obviously, if 31st December is gone, after that I am not allowed to revise the return. At the most I can revise when? Up to 31st December or completion assessment, whichever is earlier. In my case, 31st December was yet to come, so I am allowed to revise the return. See, best is this, just by heart this dialogue. Time and again you will have to write it in the paper. Huh? Summary assessment is as good as no assessment. Because see, you cannot count this as an assessment, because every person who files the return, his return is processed by default. And that naturally happens as a system only. So don't count it as an assessment. And even this doesn't have that 12 months time. That 12 months time is for the main assessment. Okay. In short, tell me what you have to remember in summary assessment. You have to remember the full form of RLAD. Then you have to remember before RLAD adjustment they wait for 30 days. And after your response they will do the processing and they will compare with how much you already paid. And accordingly either there can be demand or refund. But that is done by shooting an intimation. But that intimation can be sent within 9 months. And even though you get the intimation, don't worry. If you feel like revising the return, you can still revise the return. Okay. थोड़ी हलचल कर लो, पानी वानी पी लो. मेरा ब्रेक ऐसे ही होता है, बस 2 मिनट के लिए होल्ड कर लूंगा बस. ऐसा नहीं कि जो 10-15 मिनट का ब्रेक, वो आदत डालना ही नहीं मेरे को. मेरा सब्जेक्ट 100 घंटे का होता ना तो मस्त मजे से पढ़ते. इट्स हॉरिबल, लेंथीएस्ट सब्जेक्ट. बैच चालू हुआ ना, बोला यार अभी तो एक बैच खत्म किया, अभी इसको वापस चालू हो रहे, कब खत्म होगा. इतना बड़ा टास्क है, इतने सारे चैप्टर्स है, बाप रे, अनएंडिंग. मेरे लिए थकना भी है, पकना भी है. तुम लोग के लिए खाली थकना है, पकने वाली बात नहीं, डिग्री मिलेगी इससे. बीच में क्या लेक्चर में नींद आ रहा है, चलना फिरना चालू कर दो, चलेगा, जगह चेंज कर लो. हाँ, क्योंकि सी क्या है, अभी वीडियो मोड में, हाँ खाओ जो करना है करो, सुनते रहो बस खाली. कि वीडियो मोड मोड में क्या है, मेरे को कैमरे के सगे एक जगह रहना पड़ता है. अभी पुराने जमाने के बैच में तो क्या है, जैसे बोर्ड पे लिख रहे, चल रहे फिर रहे, घूमते फिरते, और थोड़ा ज्यादा लाइवलीनेस रहता ना, क्योंकि सर भी तो हिलते रहता है ना. नींद क्यों आती है, एकदम एक ही जगह कॉन्सेंट्रेट है. अभी एक आदमी भी इधर ही खड़ा है कैमरे के सामने, तो तकलीफ होता है. पहले तो क्या है, चलते फिरते कुछ भी, है ना. और फेस टू फेस में तो क्या 10 बार रिपीट भी कर दिया, चले कोई सो गया चल तेरे लिए रिपीट करो। इधर तो क्या है, वीडियो में एक लेवल ज़्यादा रिपीटेशन हुआ, वीडियो लेक्चर वाले बोर होते फिर। क्योंकि वीडियो वाला तो पूरा अटेंशन से देखता है ना, जितना देखना है उतना ही देखना है। उधर 1 से 2 बार भी रिपीट हुआ ना तो बोर होता है आदमी। इससे क्या फेस टू फेस में थोड़ा, सॉरी वीडियो में हो, रिपीटेशन भी थोड़ा कम हो जाता है, और थोड़ा हिल डुल के एक्टिव माहौल भी नहीं बनता। इसे तुम लोग खुद मैनेज किया करो, नींद आएगी चलना चालू कर दो, उधर बैठ जाओ, खड़े हो जाओ, जो करना है करो। ब्लैक कॉफ़ी लेके आओ। एक लड़की हिस्ट्री का करके सीए बन गई हो, वो ब्लैक कॉफ़ी लेके बीच में शॉट मारती रहती थी, ब्लैक कॉफ़ी ब्लैक कॉफ़ी पानी लेके, शक्कर वक्कर कुछ नहीं, नींद उड़ती उससे। उन लोग का बैच तो 6:30 को चालू करता था मैं, एक बैच था पहले। तेरे को भी ऐसे बिठा देवे ना नॉन स्टॉप सुन। लिसनिंग इज, इट रिक्वायर्स लॉट ऑफ पेशेंस। यस यस, वही अभी आना था। और एक तुम लोगों को तो क्या है, बैकअप का भी ऑप्शन है। कभी कोई पैच में नींद नींद में पैच चला जाए ना, घर पे आके देख लिया करो। हाँ, आया ना, नहीं आया वो लास्ट टाइम। नहीं वो तो, वो लफड़ा हो गया था वो, अभी लास्ट टाइम का वीडियो तो सब तो सेटिंग करके करना पड़ेगा। ये उसका एडिटिंग कर, हाँ, सब मॉड्यूल वगैरह जो कवर करने लायक है सब है। तो कुछ भी करने की जरूरत नहीं, यही किताब को खा जाओ पूरा, कुछ भी नहीं करना है। तो जो स्टूडेंट को करना चाहिए सब डाल दिया मैंने। अरे 9:50 हो गए, मैं सोचा इधर निकला मालूम ही नहीं पड़ा यार। चलो स्टार्ट। कितने से लूँ, कितने बजे लूँ बोलो, कितने बजे तक लूँ? 10:15 तक चलेगा? बोलो, जबरदस्ती नहीं है। वो क्यों पूछ रहा हूँ, क्योंकि अभी कुछ टच करूंगा तो थोड़ा बोलूंगा ही ना, खाली टच एंड को नहीं कर सकता। ओके, सी हियर, we finish summary assessment. Okay, now see, every time I move ahead, you should rewind your mind and understand what is happening. Chapter started with returns. After we file the return, what happens? Inquiry. How it happens, I've explained. And after inquiry, assessment. See, for summary assessment, this inquiry was not done. See, for summary assessment, as I said, every person who files the return, by default, summary assessment happens. And that inquiry thing which I explained, that is not for the purpose of summary assessment. That is for the purpose of main assessment. And what is main assessment? It will start now. Okay. So see here, in assessment, again see the chart. There are two varieties, timely assessment, related assessment. In timely, there are three things. Actually, you should count two things only. Don't count summary assessment as assessment. It is mere processing of the returns. This dialogue you can write in paper. Huh? Summary assessment is as good as no assessment. It is mere processing of the return in the software. Okay. So now what is the main assessment, you know? Regular assessment or day assessment. And this main assessment happens in 12 months time, which I have already explained. Okay. Now see how regular assessment takes place. Regular assessment. This is popularly known as scrutiny assessment. What is regular assessment known as? Scrutiny assessment. Scrutiny, okay. And this is scary and dangerous because here nothing will happen to a machine. Here manually your case will be scrutinized. Okay. So now look here. In regular assessment, first assessing officer will send a notice to the assessee calling him to his office. There are two steps only. First, call the assessee, talk to him, calculate his income. Over. That's it. This is the way regular assessment happens. What did I say? First, call the assessee, talk to him, calculate his income, assessment is done. It sounds so simple, but it's horrible. Because the moment you get a letter calling you in the income tax office, that will scare you. Because it's like, you will be interrogated. You will be questioned about several things. And then you will have to answer. So that situation is dangerous for people who have done the manipulation. So imagine if I have shown the income honestly, then I don't have to worry. But anyways, honest people will not be caught also. The fact that my scrutiny has come, that means I have definitely done some manipulation. So the moment I get a notice which will asking me to attend the office, I'll be scared. So see, there are two steps. First, call the assessee in the office and then discuss with the assessee, compute his total income and tax. This is a simple procedure for regular assessment. Okay, now look here. Imagine first you will get a notice, and this notice is called notice under section 143(2). I had this right now. Notice under section 143(2). Notice under section 143(2). This notice will tell you what? Attend my office on Thursday at 4 a.m. Sorry, 4 p.m. Thursday 4 p.m. Okay. Means evening time, afternoon time, anytime, whenever he's free, whichever day is free, he will call you. So imagine assessee has gone to the office. And imagine this is like the cabin of assessing officer. And you know what is this? This is the table. This is the office table. And on one chair, AO is sitting. On the other chair, assessee is sitting. I know both the person looks like they are standing, but there is an imaginary chair. Imagine on one chair who is sitting? AO. And on the other chair who is sitting? Means I want you to imagine office scene. So there is a table in the center, other side assessee, this side AO, and they are discussing. And there is a hot argument. Can you see the hot argument? See, AO will ask some questions, assessee has to answer. AO will question, assessee will answer. This way there will be discussion between AO and assessee. Tell me what question answer will happen here? Like for example, AO might say, assessee, your net profit is too net. You are netted of everything. I don't agree with your net profit. These expenses, I am not convinced. I feel these are fake expenses. I want to add back. Why I am saying add back? Because net means netting off all the expense. And assessees what they do, they net off everything. Whichever expense they think they net off, some expense which are not incurred also, that also they net off. And in this scrutiny, AO will say, I don't believe in these expenses, I will add back. Now assessee will argue what? No, they are genuine expense. I will show you the bill. You will have to show the bill. Some argument will happen. And sometimes the argument is like this. These expenses which you are netted off, I feel they are not revenue expenditure, they are capital expenditure. And as you know, in income tax, only revenue expenditures are allowed to be deducted. Capital expenditure are shown in balance sheet. But there is an argument between AO and assessee regarding whether an expenditure is revenue or capital. Assessee is claiming it's a revenue expenditure. But AO says, no, it's a capital expenditure, I will add back. I'm just giving some example of what kind of discussion may happen. Sometimes the discussion is, Assessee, you did not deduct TDS on this payment. You did not deduct TDS on this payment. Assessee might argue, why TDS? This payment is not subject to TDS. AO will argue, no, this is subject to TDS. Look at the act, check the act. So this kind of arguments will happen. In short, I want you to feel what discussion they are doing. Obviously, discussion related to income tax only. Now, after the discussion is done, on a piece of paper, look at this, on a piece of paper, AO will calculate the income. Look at the screen. He will calculate the tax, and if assessee has paid less, it will be demanded. And if assessee has paid more, it will be refunded. And this is done by passing an order. You know, this piece of paper on my screen, I have drawn like this box. But I want you to feel this is a paper. Assessment order is a paper on which some calculation is done. Okay. And this order is called order under section 143.3. Can you see there were two sections? In 143.2, you get a notice to attend. And after you attend, the document which is made is called order. And see, all this doesn't happen in one meeting. Several meetings. See, in first meeting, assessee will simply listen to AO. What doubts AO has got. And in the next meeting, assessee will be prepared. And he will bring all the evidences. Can you see on my drawing? My drawing, what is this and what is this? This is not cup of tea or samosa. You know what is this? This is materials gathered by AO. Materials gathered by AO. Like see, before calling the assessee, AO is well prepared. He has gathered all the documents and he is fully prepared to drill the assessee. Because to drill and to question the assessee, AO should also have some documents with him. Like he got some confirmation from GST department which says your sales are this much, but you have shown wrong sales. So this way some papers he has gathered. So this thing I have shown in my drawing as materials. And what is this, you know? Evidence produced by assessee. Evidence means what? Sometimes assessee might produce some bill. See, you doubted my advertisement expenditure, na? See, this is the actual bill. This is the authentic bill. Then sometimes AO will say, no, you didn't make this payment, you are faking. No, I made a payment. See the bank statement, passbook. So in short, these are evidences. And you know, purposely in my drawing, you know, I kept this size as big and this size as small. What I was trying to convey, you know, assessing officer is prepared thoroughly to drill you. But assessee, poor assessee has got hardly to convince assessing officer. See, assessee has to prove his genuineness. And to prove his genuineness, he is hardly having something because he is not genuine. So that's why purposely in my drawing I am trying to show assessee hardly gets some evidence to convince, but whatever he can bring, he will bring. But department, they have gathered lot of information against you. See in English what to say, you know, on the basis of materials gathered by AO and evidence produced by assessee, the AO shall compute the income and the tax. And if any amount is payable, it shall be demanded. If any refund is due, it shall be granted. This is done by passing an assessment order under section 143.3. But you know, this paragraph started with what? On the basis of materials gathered by AO and evidence produced by assessee. On the basis of these two things, income will be calculated, tax will be calculated. If anything is payable, it will be demanded. And if any refund is due, it will be granted. Okay. Look at this. What are the two steps of regular assessment? First, call the assessee. How to call the assessee? By giving him a phone call How to call? By issuing a notice under section 143(2). And then after assessee attends the office, discussion will happen, and it will happen in one meeting or several meetings. Several meeting. It can happen in one meeting also, but practically it doesn't happen in one meeting. There are several meetings. And after several meetings, computation of income will happen on a piece of paper, and that paper is called order under section 143. You know why there are two sections for this? Because there are two steps. Now, what is the time limit for this notice and order? See, order when to pass, this I have already told you. Within 12 months from the end of AY. This I have told you since last lecture only. Didn't I say if assessment happens, it will happen when? Within 12 months from the end of AY. Yes, in AY also it happens, and after the AY is over, there are 12 more months. So this is the deadline for passing the order. Means you know what law says? AO, assessee, you can meet 10 times. You can meet 100 times. But make sure you pass this. You pass this order within 12 months from the end of AY. See, law does not say finish it in one meeting only. See, sometimes the discussion might require several meetings. So you meet n number of times. But make sure you pass the order by the end of 12 months from the end of AY. But see, passing the order requires calling the assessee. When to call the assessee? When? 3 months. From the end of the year when he filed the return. See, only when the assessee files the return, AO will have a doubt on him. Oh, he has made all blunders in the return. I will call him in the office. I will call him in the office. So that thought of calling comes when? Only after seeing your return, na? That's why from the date when you file the return, end the year. And after the year is ended, 3 more months. This is the time for calling the assessee or sending notice under section 143(2). So tell me, if someone says notice of scrutiny when it comes, what will you answer? It depends upon when did you file the return. So for example, if I filed the return in September month, imagine if I filed the return in the month of September. So when can I get the notice? First you have to end the year. After September, October, November, December, Jan, Feb, March. Till March, anytime I can get the notice. But March is the end of the year. After that, 3 more months. April, May, June. Till June, I should be scared. In short, best way to learn is what you know. After you file the return, how long you should be scared. See, this is scary thing. Because here you are called in the office, you will be drilled. So how long you should be scared? Once you file the return, the moment you file the return, from the next day, the fear should arise. And you should be afraid till the end of that year. And after that year is ended, 3 more months. And after that 3 months expires. And see, 3 months will always expire in June. Because 3 months is from end of the financial. See, whenever I say end of the year, it's the financial year only. In income tax, we never talk calendar year. We always talk financial year, correct? So 3 months from the end of the year is March only, na? So after the 3 months is April, May, June. And you know why the counting is from the end of the year? Logic I told you. See, if it depends upon the date of the return, so everyone's filing return date is awkward, na? And 3 months comes to awkward date, na? And AO also has to remember, na, that by when I can call them. So you know, AOs have by-headed June. All the AOs working in the department, they have by-headed 30th June. Latest by June, we have to call the assessee. And how to call? Not by giving a phone call. By sending notice under section 143(2). And you know one more thing, this section says within 3 months assessee should receive the notice. You know, in one exam, the question came like this, huh? Assessee received, sorry, notice was sent within 3 months, but assessee received after 3 months. So it is invalid notice. They have to make sure that assessee receives within 6 months. The stress is on receives. See, generally, nowadays what happens, you know, nowadays all the notices are sent through email. And in email, once you shoot the mail, the moment it is sent, it is received the same moment. It is received within a second. But that is if it is sent through email, na? But whole India is not modern. There are many small towns, villages where there is no email facility with people. So still notices are sent through speed post. So imagine if income tax department, they have sent the notice through speed post. The speed post, how much ever you say it is speed post, it takes time, at least it might take 3-4 days. So imagine income tax department, they send the notice somewhere at the end of 3 months. And by the time it was received at your home, it was after 3 months. Tell me, when is the 3 months expiring? 30th June. So imagine they sent the letter on 29th of June, but you received on 3rd July. So it is invalid notice. What you should do, you know, you should simply tear the notice to the speed post person. You should say, get lost. Because such notice does not have any value. Because in the act, what they have written, within 3 months, assessee should receive the notice. Okay. You know why government is insisting that it should be received? Because see, what law thinks that if within 3 months you issue, and if it is received in the 4th month, so if you say make him receive the letter only so late, when will assessee come to office? When will he come? When will you discuss? When will you talk? And it doesn't happen in one meeting. So call him fast, na. To call him fast, make sure he receives within 3 months. Because if you send within 3 months, you to did your work. But he receiving late, so he coming late, everything happening late. We don't want to drag. This is the thinking of the government. Because government notes that after that notice is received by the assessee, meetings will happen. And that consumes lot of time. And to make sure that everything happens in a timely manner, law is very strict that makes sure that within 3 months, assessee receives. And you know, assessing officer is very smart. In that 3 months time, he will send the letter well in advance. If by chance he has to send through a speed post, if the letter is to be sent through email, then there is no need to worry. Even if the email is sent on 30th June. What is 30th June? Last day of 3 months. How do you count 3 months? From the end of the financial year, na? So it will be April, May, June, 3 months is 30th June. So by email, even if the letter is sent on 30th June, you will receive the same day. But that is, everyone is not having email. There are many people who still correspond with IT department through post. But very rare nowadays. Okay, now try this example. Try this. Tell me, this is my previous year. Tell me why every time I write 25, 26, are you noticing that? Because in our exam, the previous year is 25, 26 only. Okay, so this is my PY. And let's assume in the assessment year, I filed a return. So by when I should receive notice under 143.2? See the black color means in this period, anytime I can receive 143.2. Talk with section. Anytime I can receive 143.2. And after the year is over, there are 3 more months. During this period, I can receive 143.2. Okay. Now, in 143.2, I have to attend the office. And after attending the office, latest by 12 months, what should happen? All meetings should get over and the order should be prepared. Which order? Order under section 143.3. Order is what? This is a piece of paper on which calculation is done. Okay. Now see, this example is normal. Na? Now try this one. Imagine a person did not file the return on his own. He didn't file the return on his own. In fact, he didn't file the return only, thinking that how government will come to know, but government came to know. And suddenly he got RAI notice. RAI notice, what is R? Someone who don't file the return, he will be asked to file the return. So imagine I got RAI notice in this 12 months patch. So tell me, in response, in RAI also I am assuming R for file the return. So let's assume I filed the return. Look at this, wait. Means imagine I filed the return on this date. Look at the star. So tell me, my return came so late. Why it became so late? Because I myself didn't file, na. He reminded me, and once they remind me, it is my duty to file the return. Now tell me, when will I get notice under section 143.2? I hope you are understanding. I am taking you in which zone. Tell me, when will I get 143.2 notice? When will I get 143 notice? See, what is the rule for 143.2? After you file the return till the end of the year. And after the end of the year, there are 3 more months. So technically, by this date, look at the screen. By this date, I can receive 143.2. But you know, nothing can happen beyond 12 months. This 12 months time has overriding impact. 12 months time has overriding impact. Means it will override everything. Every time limit is nonsense in front of 12 months. 12 months has got overriding impact. So that means what? Technically my time of 3 months is going beyond 12 months, but it is having no value. Means see what I am doing here. I will put a cross mark here. So that means what, latest I should receive the notice by 31st March 28 in my example. And it is possible. See, 3 months is what? Maximum time allowed for making him receive the notice. That's the maximum time. But notice can be sent early, na? So see, if I am assessing officer, what I should do? I should think that this guy has filed a return so late that also I reminded him. So now I have got only this much time to finish the assessment. In the notice, what will it say? Come to my office tomorrow only. Come to my office day after tomorrow only. He will call you first. Why AO is in haste? Because he wants to finish the assessment in 12 months. Firstly, he will send the letter also immediately. The moment he file the return, I will stop. I will file the return. The moment he receives the return, he will immediately send what? 143.2. See, 3 months is the maximum time, na? But does it mean you should work till the end? Till the end, if he works, he cannot do anything. Because beyond 12 months,